San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime years.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Happy Tuesday, everybody out there. As we are getting underway on the Braden Surprenant Show alongside Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant as we get you ready for Padres baseball again. Coming up tonight, 6:40, first pitch. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, 5:40 with Sam Levitt. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ella will take over after me at 2 o'clock. But we got a lot in store, a lot to break down from last night's game. And the elephant in the room, we're just going to address it now. The whole Juan Soto trade last night. I mean, I heard this earlier today, and I totally agree. Did anybody expect anything else? Anything less than what happened last night? Anything? Did anybody expect a different outcome than what we saw last night from the former Padres farmhands? You knew that was coming. Anybody that's ever been a Padres fan for the last 20 to 30 years knew that was coming. The amount of times that former Padres and former Padres farmhands kill the Padres, it's like clockwork. You knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen. So for today's show, I can't go into the show today that upset about the result last night. You want to know why? Because you almost knew it was going to happen before it happened. Everybody knew it was going to happen. Everybody knew that was going to happen last night. You should have put the money on Washington. Or at least put some higher or lower bets on Wood and Abrams and even Josh Bell, for that matter. You knew it was going to happen. So from that perspective, last night didn't really bug me too much in terms of the overall result. Those games happen, and on top of that, knowing the situation, knowing that this entire series was going to be the Juan Soto trade and all the players that they got from the Juan Soto trade and everything like that. All right, let's just get it out of the way. I can't wait. This is going to happen at least a couple of times. And it's going to be people that didn't hear this opening segment. They're going to call in or weigh in the chat. We lost the Juan Soto trade. Yes and no. I mean, this is going to be a trade, as we talked about yesterday. This is going to be a trade that is talked about for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, or however long C.J. Abrams and James Wood are in the major leagues. Same thing with Mackenzie Gore. You're just going to have to do that's going to be a discussion topic. I have been in here for less than 5 minutes, and MLB Network has already put up the trade that was the Juan Soto trade. Maybe it's because the Padres and Nationals game is on MLB Network tonight for those that don't have Padres.tv. Then on Black Edit for other people that watch our show internationally and around the country. Tonight's game's on MLB Network. Maybe that's why they're talking about it. But you talk about the Juan Soto deal. Let's just address this now. I'm tired of addressing it because I'm tired of it. I get why this gets brought up all the time. I don't like thinking about things in hindsight. I think it's too easy. It's too easy to do. It's too easy to take knowledge that you have learned over the course of time since an action that you are judging. It's easy to take all that information and then go back and go, they should have done this. It's so easy. I look at that Juan Soto trade and I go, I'd do that trade probably 9 times out of 10. And the only reason why I would not do that trade, and the biggest fear I think a lot of Padres fans had, was James Wood. James Wood was the guy that, if this guy turns out to be great, this is a miss. Because the way he was playing in the minor leagues, and even though he wasn't the top prospect in this particular trade, his size, his comparisons in the outfield, you knew the guy was going to be a really good player. So did the Padres, because, as Darnay Tripp alluded to, and this is information that I have heard before, but that was like the last guy that the Padres wanted to ship off. They wanted to keep James Wood. So start looking over the trade. Like, Robert Hassel III has not been very good for Washington. He was supposed to be a, can't miss guy when they drafted him first round. He hasn't really been that. He's been okay. The Padres were okay with letting him go. C.J. Abrams. Again, the conversation about C.J. Abrams was they didn't really believe that C.J. Abrams was that into baseball, at least to their level that they would like. And so the decision came down to, you had 2 shortstops coming up. The decision came down to C.J. Abrams or Jackson Merrill. And the Padres elected that they were going to keep Jackson Merrill, and so they traded C.J. Abrams instead. You look at the other pieces. I mean, you're going to need it. You're going to have to give up an arm for a guy like Juan Soto. Mackenzie Gore, does anybody remember Mackenzie Gore from 2020 through or whenever he got drafted? I mean, I'm pretty sure, after 2020, because he was starting to get reps with the major leagues in those COVID camps and spring training, he had the yips at one point. I mean, they had to try to figure him out. And so you look at the players that they have given up for Juan Soto at the time. Again, you got to look at the time that it was made. Are you saying that you would have rather not traded for Soto and just rolled with what you had in 2022? Is that what you would want for the betterment of maybe this year, which was not guaranteed, by the way? The problem with keeping some of your prospects is you could potentially be Baltimore. Look at Baltimore. The Baltimore Orioles have elected to keep as many of their guys as humanly possible. They don't want to trade any of their valuable assets. They've loaded up. But the problem is they're stockpiled. They have nowhere to go. And on top of that, they neglected to acquire pitching, and they're getting killed by it. And guess what? They still suck. So Baltimore, who was good at the time last year and the year before that, decided not to make a major trade because they wanted to be good in the future, and they kept their guys, and guess what? They suck now. So again, when you look at these trades, you can't look at it in hindsight, because when you look at things in hindsight, all it's going to do is really piss you off. There's really no great evaluation. That's why every time I go, I need a decision right now in the moment of what you would do, so you can record it down, and then later on we can address, well, you didn't really want this guy at this particular time, or you did. I mean, remember, we cut Xander Bogaerts before he went 11 for 19 because that's what people wanted to do. It goes back to the overreacting with every single game. But I look back at the Juan Soto trade from a Padres perspective. Fernando Tatis Jr. was supposed to be back right after that. Fernando Tatis Jr. is supposed to be back right after that. He gets hit with a PED suspension. If they didn't acquire Soto, the Padres wouldn't have made it to the NLCS. It doesn't work, and it's a brutal trade because you didn't win the World Series. But you had to take the chance. Would you rather have the Padres take the chance to go get a big bat or just continually play for the future? Those are the decisions. Again, even though C.J. Abrams is a 2-time All-Star. By the way, Washington needs an All-Star every year. They need to have a token All-Star. The decision was C.J. Abrams or Jackson Merrill. So answer that. If you think, because one of them was going, if you think it's upsetting that C.J. Abrams is on the Nationals, would you rather have C.J. Abrams and Jackson Merrill? That is the question. The question is not rather Juan Soto or C.J. Abrams. The question is C.J. Abrams or Jackson Merrill. And if you think that you would rather have C.J. Abrams and Jackson Merrill, that's your opinion. But I don't necessarily agree with that. Again, the biggest one was James Wood. But the Padres tried to hold out as long as possible for James Wood because they didn't want to trade him away. I'm not defending the trade. What I'm doing is laying out what the situation was at hand for you to think about what the decision was. The Padres in 2022 were close to potentially winning a World Series. They felt that they were close. They had Fernando Tatis Jr. coming back from injury within 2 weeks. They needed a big bat. They needed a big trade. They thought they were going to go for it, and they went for it. In doing so, they were going to have to give up either Abrams or Merrill. They decided on Merrill over Abrams. They had to give up a pitching prospect. Mackenzie Gore had the yips, and it was so messed up for a long time that the Padres felt okay with getting rid of Mackenzie Gore. You had to throw in a couple other prospects. The big one in the group was Robert Hassel III. He hasn't panned out. And then the last piece that was part of the equation was James Wood. And when the Dodgers started to bid on Juan Soto, remember everybody was upset. You guys all forget this? Remember the trade deadline when the Padres essentially acquired Max Scherzer from the Washington Nationals, and then the Dodgers came in and swooped them up? Well, in order for that to not happen, the Padres had to give up James Wood. What is 2022 like? And I don't like playing what-if games, but if we're going to play in hindsight, what is 2022 like if the Dodgers acquired Juan Soto and the Padres were like, we're going to keep James Wood? What is it like? You know what it is? You're not beating them in 2022. They would have beat you in the playoffs. It would have been the same thing, and the ride that you had would have been gone. You can't take all the good results from the past on some of these decisions and then be upset about it in the future. There's consequences to actions. There's give and take. There's going to be pros and cons. The pros of going after a World Series and acquiring Juan Soto, those were the pros. The con was you're going to potentially lose out on a couple of guys that could help you in the future. And if it doesn't work, because again, you're going all in. You went all in on the roulette table. All in on black, it came up red. But you wanted to be all in. So this is the same conversation that's going to happen every single trade deadline. Do you want the Padres to have to improve their major league roster, or do you want to just keep what you have? Sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And so for people that want to talk about hindsight with the trade, it is what it is. I would rather have the Padres go get Juan Soto than think about, well, maybe in the future I'm going to have these guys when you don't know what your team's going to look like in the future. And my best example of that, again, is the Baltimore Orioles. They didn't go after it last year or the year before. They were protecting their prospects that they wanted to keep for the future. And now the future is here, and they don't get off to the good start that they had. And now what do they have? They have a wasted season. Every single year that you have an opportunity to win, you must go for it. You must go for it. And the thing I think from Padres fans is they're so afraid of going back to what the Padres were in the early 2000s and in the 2010s, that of being just inconsistent or being just super bad every once in a while, that they're afraid about some of the future in the Padres organization. I mean, the reality is They need to go after it every single year they can. I would rather have a team and an organization not be afraid. Scared money, don't make no money. There's a lot of positives for that Soto deal, too. It led you to King. It led you to Kyle Higashioka. You got Johnny Brito. You got Randy Vasquez has been great. I mean, it's not like Soto just walked at the end of it. The Padres got prospects back. Then they got players back. Washington is 33-46. And even though they beat you last night and they might be set up for the future, you can't evaluate it until all those players have been done. If Washington wins multiple World Series or gets the World Series and wins, then you could say the Padres lost the trade. But the reality is, you go for it and you try to get your best opportunity there to win a World Series, and sometimes you come up short. And the Padres came up short in the NLCS. But I'll tell you right now, you want to wipe that year away? Go ahead, Padres fans, but I'm pretty sure everybody enjoyed that run that the Padres had. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll talk about some of the things that went wrong last night for the San Diego Padres. Pitching wasn't there, and the importance of shutting the door. They didn't get any bullpen piece to shut the door. Padres ended up coming back a little bit, and if they would have slammed the door before the 8th inning, would have been a little bit closer of a game. Padres made it a little bit of a game, and you're going to get some of those. But we'll break down where things went wrong for the Padres last night when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 10:22. Frank's fired up. Frank's fired up.
I am fired up. I'm very happy now.
That's why we're yelling, Adam. Frank's fired up. Why is Frank fired up? Well, we will have the debut of Frank Marchese on the road.
Yes.
As we will be live at the Loft tomorrow.
My first remote.
First remote for
97.3.
Frank Marchese. Give him a round of applause.
I love it. I
Well
love
done.
it so much.
So, no mic swing tomorrow, but we'll be there.
No, you get the downswing on the mic. You get
That's actually better. Okay, so we will be at the Loft tomorrow from what time is the game? 1:10 game? Yeah. So we will be there 10 to 12:05. Up in the Loft. Usually like the last hour is when the gates are open so you can come up and hang out with us. Get down to the ballpark early. Go up to the Loft. Get yourself a social sparkler and then come hang out with Frank and I as we finish our show and get you ready for Sam Levitt. Come talk ball with us. We love to talk ball. We will be live at the Loft. It's going to be great tomorrow. Now, I always see Rod and Nate there, so I know Rod's going to be there. We'll see if Nate's going to be there. Let's talk about another factor of this trade that everybody's so worried about. I've already seen it like right now, right? A couple people in the chat are willing to trade Ethan Salas. If Ethan Salas gets traded and turns into a stud, and then everybody's going to be like, well, we shouldn't have traded that. The hindsight's ridiculous. The hindsight's ridiculous. You can't have hindsight in these decisions. I laid everything out in front of you at the time. That's when you need to make that's the information that you had to make a decision on, not, oh, James Woods hitting 284 and CJ Abrams is a two-time All-Star. Aside from Trey Turner, in which a player that Preller did not draft, it was in his first year, there hasn't been many prospects for the Padres that have turned into absolute studs. CJ Abrams is a two-time All-Star, but again, you do not have CJ Abrams and Jackson Merrill on the same team. You get to pick one or the other. That is what the deal was. Would you rather have Abrams or would you rather have Jackson Merrill? That's the question. It really is. That's the question. So if you think it's Abrams, I mean, then Jackson Merrill's on the Nationals right now. Let's talk about the James Wood situation. Again, the James Wood situation, he was the last guy in the trade that put it over the top. Remember, the Dodgers were trying to get Juan Soto too, and they had a last-minute push. And the last time they had a last-minute push with Washington, Max Scherzer and Trey Turner ended up on the Dodgers. Padres ended up with nothing. So you look at some of these deals. Anthony Rizzo, to somebody in the chat, was not traded by A.J. Preller. Anthony Rizzo was traded by Josh Burns. He traded Anthony Rizzo for Andrew Cashner. So let's not say every bad Padres trade is A.J. Preller's fault, because it's not. That was before he got there. You could make some arguments about the Andres Munoz thing, but having a closer, I mean, that's not like a huge impact guy. You have Robert Suarez. He's relatively the same. The other thing that I don't think a lot of people are really thinking of, and it was mentioned in the chat to an extent. I mean, you guys love 2022. Love 2022. Love the year of 2022. That probably does not happen without the Juan Soto deal. Especially if the Dodgers traded Juan Soto. But right now, and for the last 2 seasons, really the last 3 seasons, right? 2023, 2024, 2025. Those are all riding off of the success of 2022. So the deal you made for Juan Soto has led to sellout after sellout after sellout. It's led to the ballpark being filled every single day. It's led to the atmosphere that the Padres have every single night. It's led to the organization continually trying to add and make pushes for the postseason. That happens because of the Juan Soto deal. Not to say that they weren't talented, not to say that they weren't going to be a good team, but everything that we've had the last couple of years has been because that Juan Soto deal got him over the top. You're still riding the wave of the Juan Soto deal. And you even got players back. Now, if A.J. Preller would have traded all of those players and got the years that he did out of Soto, which was, 1.5? And then let him walk, it would be a lot different. It would be a lot different. But that's not the case. He then flipped him for Michael King and Drew Thorpe and Johnny Brito and Randy Vasquez and Kyle Higashioka. Kyle Higashioka was part of the playoff push last year. Johnny Brito still remains to be seen whether or not he pans out. They flipped Drew Thorpe for Dylan Cease. People like to bitch, moan, and complain about Dylan Cease. He's still a better option than a lot of the pitchers that they had in the past. And then Randy Vasquez has been pretty good this year. Now, are they all the level of Abrams and Wood right now? And Gore? Probably not. But at the same time, it's working out for the Padres. They made the NLCS in 2022, had a meltdown in 2023, but they were still highly competitive throughout the year. They screwed themselves up in that. 2024, they made the playoffs. In 2025, right now, they're right in the thick of things. The Padres have been consistently good for the last couple of years. 22 and on. So you're not always going to keep everybody. You're not always going to keep everybody. I would rather have the Padres go after a World Series every single year than just sit on their hands, like Baltimore. Would you rather be Baltimore or would you rather be the Padres? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to get to Steve in San Diego in just a second. We got to take a quick break. We'll talk about last night's game. I know people are frustrated about the trade. We knew this was going to happen. We'll talk about that when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97 to the fans brought to you by Amazon. Okay, I've got some good news and I've got some great news. The good news is Prime Day is almost here. The great news, this year you'll have 4 days to find deals on all of your favorite things. Shop Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th. Frank Marchese, Braden Surprenant. Trying to address the elephant in the room of the Juan Soto trade because I know everybody was going to be bitching and moaning about that today. As soon as I knew at least one of these games, and maybe it's all three, that the Nationals were going to have Abrams and Wood go off. I'm sure Gore is going to shove tomorrow for Washington. And everybody was going to freak out about the Juan Soto trade. Like you haven't reaped the benefits of that for multiple years now. People want to call out other trades. I mean, again, aside from the Trey Turner trade, I could defend most trades that A.J. Preller has done. And I don't get paid to do that. I'm tired of hearing that. I don't get paid by them. I'm just in the middle. I'm keeping it real. And sometimes you can't think that emotionally about some of these deals. Like everybody's upset about the Austin Nola deal. Well, Austin Nola was hitting over 300 at the time when the Padres need him. Do you want to go back down memory lane? It's 2020. It's a shortened season. You have Austin Hedges catching who can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. And they needed some offensive production out of the catching situation. And so they go get Austin Nola. And they traded away. Does anybody remember Andres Munoz at the time? He blew out his arm. He was coming off the Tommy John surgery. So you had a kid coming off Tommy John surgery that threw the ball really hard. No guarantee he was going to come back and be as good as he was. And you traded away Ty France. Let me ask everybody, what position was Ty France playing at the time? Nobody. Nowhere. He wasn't playing anywhere. He didn't have a position. Manny was at third. Fernando was at shortstop. They had Jake Cronenworth on the payroll because he had to fill in because Eric Hosmer was sick to start the year. He had Hosmer at first. There was nowhere for him to play. And so you went out and got a catcher. At the time, again, if you look at the time, I bet 95% of you would probably have done the same thing. Yeah, let's trade the guy that's got Tommy John surgery, the relief pitcher, and let's trade Ty France, who we don't have a spot for, and let's get a catcher who's 28 years old at the time, hitting 300. Again, the hindsight's just like wild. Frank and I we fight the good fight against the hindsight pandemic as much as we can. So again, the Padres got something back out of the Juan Soto deal. If they would have let him walk, it would have been a problem. Jackson Merrill was the guy that you didn't trade because you had to give away one or the other. It was down to Abrams or Merrill. They decided on Merrill staying as a Padre, and now he's under contract for 9 years. Woods and Abram are still on the rookie deals. And who knows if Washington re-signs them or not. But where are the organizations right now? And for the last couple of years, the Padres have been in the playoffs, in the NLCS in 2022, missed it last year, in the playoffs in 2024, lost to the team that eventually won the World Series. And everybody last year, if I recall correctly, thought the Padres could win the World Series. And again, this year, they're 42-36, despite the loss last night. And they're in a prime position to make the playoffs again. The Nationals had lost like 10 out of the last 11 games before they went to L.A. They're not in a good spot. And next year, they probably won't be in a good spot. And the year after that, they might start being able to compete, but they haven't done it yet. So 4, 5, 6 years down the road from the trade in 2022, they're still not competing. I'd still rather be the Padres than the Washington Nationals. Unless the Nationals win a World Series within the next 6 or 7 years, it's not a major loss for the Padres in terms of a trade. You got value out of Juan Soto. You got the success of 2022. And then you actually got pieces back that you can build off of for the future. You have those pieces collected. It's just right now you wish you had a left fielder like, oh, let's plug and place. You can't just take all the best players that the Padres have had in their organization and put them all in the same lineup at the same time on a hindsight. It doesn't work like that. It's never worked like that. And you can't always just keep preparing for the future. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. People are like, oh, we got rid of Luke Voigt. Luke Voigt's in Mexico right now playing baseball. I mean, he hadn't done anything since he left, and he was barely doing anything when he was with the Padres, except for the chest lettuce, little chest moss. And as Go Aztecs in the Twitch chat says, each team could have an all-time team with their traded off pieces. That's facts. Scared money don't make no money. Let's get to the phones. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Steve in San Diego. Steve, you're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, man?
Braden, good morning. Okay, a lot to unpack here. I agree with you completely. AJ Preller has put this team in position year after year after year. Braden, do you know how many guys we have hitting over 280?
Currently, we'll probably have at least a hand. Let's see. We got Merrill's hitting over 280, Machado, Rise close after last night.
Yep.
So you got like three or four.
Exactly. How many are hitting over 250? 5. 2 are hitting over 300. Can you tell me who the left fielder is of the Giants and what he's hitting? That's kind of my point, right? Is we need this city to stop looking in hindsight. I agree with you completely. The hindsight horse does not lead you to water. AJ Preller leads you to water. We just need our talent, our players who are fantastic up and down that lineup just to perform a little bit better, just to, clear your head and be the player that you are, because we are not performing. We're 42-36. I think we're 42-36 because of AJ Preller, right? And that coaching staff has to get a little bit more out of each player, right? And just perspective and hindsight and, San Diego getting on some players. Remember like a couple years ago, Ha-Sung Kim, right? And it was like, oh, why is he being so aggressive? Why is he swinging out of the strike zone? Well, do you know who's hitting behind him? A catcher who's going to get out 8 out of 10 times. So if a guy's on first and there's 2 outs, a single does no good because the next guy's out. A bunt doesn't do any good. A walk doesn't do any good. So some of these takes, when you're in San Diego, like you have to play pro ball to understand pro ball. You can't just play college and say, keep your eye on the ball. Why is he striking out so much, Ha-Sung Kim? Because the next guy isn't out 8 out of 10 times, and there's a guy on first. A single doesn't score him, right? So you need to think bigger picture here. And that's my take. We don't need a left fielder. We don't need a catcher to hit. We just need the other 7 guys, because they're damn talented, to step up. And stop looking at James Wood. If he played for the Padres today, he would not have 21 home runs. It's a different environment. He's playing in Philly. He's playing against the Mets. That's a different division with sandbox ballparks, right? Like, that is totally different. So you can't say, oh, he's hitting 21 homers, he would do it the same for us this year. Absolutely not. It's different pitching, different coaching, different technique, different stadium. So we need to stop looking in hindsight and just prepare who we have for the best we can get out of them every single day.
Steve, I agree. Help fight the good fight against the hindsight pandemic that we have sometimes. Trying to make it better for everybody here on the Padres flagship station. Get rid of the middle. A lot of it is very factual. That pissed off Frank. What a stray! What a stray!
Why are the Mets catching strays here? What did I do?
There. Frank took that stray like he was talking about Frank. Frank's ballpark is. But it is true. I mean, how many times did you see on the trades for the Padres their OPS plus go down and WRC plus go down, and the ballpark's a little bit of an environment, but at the same time, like it's not all the same. It's not all the same. Where I disagree with Steve, they do need another bat. They could probably use 2 other bats. It lengthens the lineup a little bit, but he's right. I mean, the players that they have on the team need to perform. And when they don't perform, you can't just get rid of them all the time. Because then you're going to be like the 2020 Padres that has a brand new roster every 3 to 5 months. And maybe with that, it's led to Padres fans thinking they can just go get the next guy all of a sudden, which is not the case. Again, I knew last night was going to happen. It was a matter of time. So we had to nip in the butt this Abrams-Wood deal that everybody freaks out about all the time. Frank's live reaction, that was great, by the way. What a stray. What a stray. Let's get to Jay in San Diego. Jay, you're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, man?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm actually, believe it or not, a Padre fan. You've talked to me for a little while now, and I don't always come across that way, right?
That's right. You know what? You're a very critical Padres fan, but you want the best for the Pods. I appreciate that.
I feel the same way as Ted Leitner did. You can be a fan. I mean, I dispute that last caller. We don't need a left fielder. Where's this guy playing? I don't understand that kind of thinking. You got a guy whose WAR is, I saw today, 0.7 playing in the major leagues. You have a catcher, 3 catchers, 2 catchers, 1 catcher. They can't hit anything, and his excuse for Ha-Seong Kim was because there was nobody behind him. How about the fact Ha-Seong Kim was a lousy hitter? Oh, by the way, he's not in the majors, is he?
Well, he's hurt right now, but yes.
No, but the point is, he's not that well wanted. Now, my personal opinion, just my personal opinion, this team is overachievers. Our last 30 games, I don't care. Remember, called a couple of years ago. I don't care about the trades. That's just verbiage, The point is, we lost last night. I don't care who hits the home run, because that should not be the issue here with the Padres, right? Point is, we lost to Washington. That's the kind of team that the good teams beat all the time. Now, yes, I don't know if we'd be in the playoffs today, but you'd have to agree, Brad, this is not the direction you want to go in. You don't want to be losing games going, well, you know what, but we're hanging in there. We're still in the wild card. We might have lost 8 in a row, but here we go. That's not the kind of way a team should be looking at instead of, and I'll say one last thing, and I'm not saying fire Preller. I didn't say that. But he's been general manager for how long, Braden?
More than 10 years now.
And how many World Series has he been to?
We haven't been any.
That's right. The city accepts mediocrity, right? Hey, we almost got it. Hey, look, we were in second. Just my opinion, Braden.
Well, Jay, I appreciate the phone call. There's a couple things. I mean, what the Padres have been the last 4 or 5 years, I would not really consider mediocrity. And it's way better than it was before. And I think a lot of people forget just how bad the Padres were before this ownership took over, when AJ Preller took over. It's a way more exciting team now. Now, Jay is right. They do need another left fielder. The catching situation, again, is not an offensive position for the Padres, nor is it an offensive position for a lot of teams in Major League Baseball. So that's a different point. The other thing, too, is there are going to be stretches where teams that are really good lose a lot of games. I'm going to throw the Mets under the bus. How many games did they lose in a row over the last whatever it was?
They just had a 7-game loser. I think they've lost 9 of their last 10.
They are the best team in the National League record-wise before that. They were. And they lost 9 of the last 10 games. Didn't the Yankees just get smoked for 2 weeks?
Yeah, they got shut out 3 straight games by the Angels.
The Angels shut out the Yankees 3 straight times. So again, it's the Angels. The Angels aren't very good either. I think a lot of times it's hard to you can't watch every game, right? You can't watch every Major League Baseball game. A lot of people can try. But there's going to be times where you lose these clunkers throughout the season. Now, let's talk about the Padres losing whatever it was. What did they lost? They won 3 out of 4. They've won 3 of their last 4 before last night. I mean, overall in the month of June, they haven't been performing very well. But they don't have, and I don't want to make excuses, but it's different when you don't have Michael King pitching. And it's different when you lose Jackson Merrill for 7 days. And it's different. I know injuries are a part of the game. But there's going to be stretches in which they don't play very well. And again, it goes back to the great start that they had and how important it was. You're going to win 60 games. You are going to lose 60 games, and it's what you do with the 42. In between, that's going to determine whether or not you're a playoff team or not. And it's still June 24th. I'm not saying it's early, but what I'm saying is it was one game last night. Now, here's, to me, when you look at like opponents and games between two teams in Major League Baseball, you can't look at the Padres losing to the Nationals last night as, I can't believe they lost to the Nationals. View it as a series. Because if the Padres take 2 out of 3 from Washington, they won the series. They should be doing that. That's doing your job. Sweeping teams in Major League Baseball is very difficult. It's incredibly difficult. I mean, think about all the good teams that the Rockies have beat. I mean, go through the wins. I mean, they've beat some good teams. I mean, Washington smoked the Dodgers one day over the weekend. Dodgers took 2 out of 3. Right? So they're not always going to win every game against inferior teams, but they're going to win series. It's hard to beat a team 7 times in a row. And in order to sweep the Nationals and sweep them you're going to lose them eventually. You play the Nationals 7 times. It might be 6 this year. I don't know off the top of my head. You're not going to beat them 7 straight times. You're going to have losses mixed in. I mean, that's why last night I'm not overly upset. Now, you could be upset about Wandy Peralta not pitching well. You could be upset with Kolek losing it. You could be upset with Matsui giving up 3 runs in the last 1 1/3 innings. You could be upset that the Padres offense didn't get anything going. Those are the things that you individually can get upset about that need to be fixed before the next day. But there's going to be a time in the near future where the Padres are going to go back on a run and win multiple games. I mean, there was a couple of times already this season. I think it was in May where the Padres had won like 6 straight series in a row. You wouldn't even known that. Because sometimes we are all focused on the negative of just the one loss in the overall series. You wouldn't even known it. I mean, we talked about the difficult stretch that the Padres were on that they just finished. They finished 1 game under 500 during their second hardest stretch of the year. The hardest is going to be in August. 1 game under 500. Most teams that play a difficult schedule like that will finish around 500 or under. It's part of the game. It's part of the season. You're going to have bad losses mixed in. And the Padres still managed to make that game relatively close for no reason. So, we could talk about the trade all you want. You could talk about where they went wrong. I mean, you could doom and gloom about a lot of different things, but the reality is it's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. The Padres have a good baseball team. Are they a great baseball team? No, I wouldn't say that. They're a good baseball team. And I think they're a couple of players away from potentially being a great baseball team. And the thing is after the deadline, who knows what everybody else's teams are going to look like. But you start looking at other teams in baseball, and every good team in Major League Baseball this year has had a rough stretch at some point during the season, where they're either losing a bunch of games in a row or losing 7 of 9 or going 2-5 in 7 games. I mean, just getting their ass handed to them. That's the sport of baseball. So you're going to see that a lot. And I said that at the beginning of the season. When they were off to a 14-3 start, I said everything's great, but they're going to go through a time where they're going to look like absolute awful. They're going to look like crap. And sure enough, here's one of the stretches the Padres are on where they don't look very good. It's the individual things, the little things that lead to a right way. Already an hour down. When we come back, talk a little bit about what Fernando's doing and the latest with that on the Braden Surprenant Show. Too much doing in the chat today. Did we know this was gonna? We knew this was gonna happen.
Yeah, we did.
We knew it was gonna happen. We knew it was gonna happen. Come on. Anybody who's been a Padres fan for as long as I have, and I haven't even been a Padres fan for that long, compared to a lot of people that call into our show. I mean, I've been a Padres fan since birth. I've only been on this planet for 30 years. But still, it's like, how many times have we seen the same dudes beat up on the Padres all the time? Used to be Padres.
You don't even need to be a fan of the Padres in order to understand this. You just need to be the fan of a team that is a historic loser. That's it. If you are a fan of any team, I don't care if it's New York, San Diego, if it's Montana. If you are the fan of a program or team that has a history of losing and not being good, you just constantly sit and wait for the shoe to drop. That's what it is.
I love this is the funniest part. Like, again, the Nationals are not good. So yes, it's a little frustrating that the Padres lost the Nationals. Again, talk to me on Thursday. If the Padres get swept by the Nats or lose 2 out of 3 to the Nationals, there's something you could say. All right, should have done better against that's a series you have to win. So we'll see what happens the next 2 days. I mean, the Padres can rake the next 2 days. What did we do every day of the Dodgers series? Every loss, trade everybody. Every win, get World Series tickets. Ridiculous. One of my friends texted me this. 100% spot on. Listen to this, Frank. You're going to laugh. Nationals beat the Padres on June 23rd, 2025, and therefore won the Juan Soto trade. Is the dumbest argument I've ever heard. It is.
But it's the right one, Braden. Come on.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's right, though.
It was so dumb, and I agree, because this was like my reaction to what you sent me yesterday from Bernie Wilson, who writes for the AP, goes to the winning clubhouse, and the Nationals won yesterday. And Davey Martinez is like popping off about the deal, but now obviously it's his guys. He's going to brag about his guys. But it was just like major eye roll. They haven't done anything since 2022. They're not going to do anything for the next couple of years. And if the Padres' window to win is now, then for the Padres, it's a successful trade. If the Nationals' window to win is later, when these guys are in their prime, and then they do, then they win their side. I mean, it's not that big of a deal with the trades. Remember, back on August 12th, 2022, Frank, Padres beat the Nationals. That means we won the Soto trade in 2022.
I think it was 2023. I remember because I was working the games and went on a rant.
When
in the back
door hit the home run in Washington.
No. When they were playing, when the Padres were playing the Nationals, I remember I was working the games and I went in the back room and did a rant about it. They got swept out of 4 by the Nationals. I think that was in 2023, and people weren't talking like this.
That had to have been at home.
It was.
Well, I remember because they were struggling. Like Rougned Odor was struggling. I was flying to New York because the Padres had the Yankees the next series.
No, that was at the end of the year. That was in April, or that was in like August or September.
The Yankees series?
No,
that's when they were at home then, because Rougned Odor hit a home run late. They bought himself 2 weeks.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We were watching on the plane, and that was it. They beat the Nationals in Washington on a Rougned Odor home run. Dylan Cease no-hit him last year.
Yes.
Padres win the trade. That's Juan Soto. Isn't that part of the Juan Soto deal, technically?
So
they traded Soto. They got Drew Thorpe. They traded Thorpe for Cease. Cease no-hitter. Won the trade. I'm not doing this every time the Padres play the Nationals.
I was going to say, so what you're saying is if the Padres beat the Nationals tonight, then they won the Soto trade.
Yes.
There you go. So there you go. Love
Based
the logic.
on windsock logic. Yes. Don't be a windsock. Do you know what's the name of my OTL team? Braden Surprenant's
yes.
Windsocks?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Said that last week, I believe.
I've officially put that in. We have 4 teams out there now that are presented by the Braden Surprenant Show, all with clean names on purpose. It's going to be fun. Speaking of Windsox, come to OTL. Yes, July 12th. We will be out there. I will be out there. I don't know if Frank's showing up yet, but I will be out there on July 12th. We have blue and pink shirts, OTL shirts. I have extra. If you have an OTL team and you want to wear the shirts, let me know. And DM me your sizes. I will bring you said shirt. I will not bring you Frank's shirt. Frank gets his own. You want pink or blue or both?
Hell, if both is an option, I'll take both.
I might have enough for both. I might not. You might just get the blue. But I got brown and gold ones coming too.
I mean, I'm comfortable enough with who I am to take a pink shirt. That's fine with me.
The pink shirt's a little bit more popular than I thought it was going to be. I literally made the pink shirt for just Sam because he loves pink, and then I had to order extra, and everybody else wants the pink one. So
I'm comfortable enough with who I am. I'll take a pink shirt. Fine
it's nice.
me.
It's pink and blue. It's pretty sweet.
There you go.
I think I have a copy of it somewhere. I'll send it to you. You can post on the stream. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We're going to talk about this Fernando thing here in a second. But let's get back to the phones. Mike and Ramona, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Braden, how are you?
I'm doing well, Mike. I'm doing better than a 10-6 loss last night. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. Hey, I was just calling to say, with Darvish, I mean, he skips half the season last year for some mysterious personal problem, and he's one of our, formidable starters. And then this year, I mean, it's not like he's coming off Tommy John surgery or something. If he doesn't want to play, why don't we just buy him out, Braden, and let him hang him up and go do what he wants to do? And that.
Well, Mike, see, he has had Tommy John surgery. It was 10 years ago. He surgically repaired his elbow. That particular elbow is giving him problems. So, kind of. Do you want him to go beat Dinelson Lamet? Or Mike Clevenger? It's not like he doesn't want to play. I mean, he knows his body. There's nobody on this Padres team I would trust to know about himself more than you, Darvish. And the thing with you, Darvish, at his age, I need him to be like at full strength in October. And at his age, if he makes it through the entire season, he's going to get worn down and not be there for October. So if he feels good, like September, whatever, I need him in October. I don't really care about him in the regular season. Even though they didn't win last night with Stephen Kolek, they can win with Stephen Kolek and Randy Vasquez and piece together games, and you're just kind of weathering the storm until you get closer to the end where you can really put on the gas. Darvish took a pay cut in that deal, in which he went on the list where he wasn't going to get paid. I mean, he's guy's a team player. I'm not going to dog you, Darvish. He will be here when he's here. And he's here in the dugout and stuff. So it's not like he's not helping the team. I mean, having you Darvish back there is like having an extra pitching coach. It's crazy. Wow. Rod is at Point Loma Seafood. That's a good call on a day like today. Is it sunny down there, Rod? Might be a little socked in. I tell you what, Point Loma Seafood. It's not the lunchtime hour yet. Rod has his lunchtime hour in the 11 o'clock hour. I need him to have it in the noon hour. You know what I get at Point Loma Seafood? You ever been to Point Loma Seafood? You're a picky eater. You're a seafood guy?
I'm not a big seafood guy. Like, I'll have like fried calamari and clams and stuff like that.
Do I have a surprise for you, Frank?
Oh, boy.
You like sourdough bread, Frank?
Yeah, I'll take it.
What about tartar sauce?
Yeah, we're pushing it now.
They got a sloppy squid sandwich at Point Loma Seafood.
Okay.
Toasted sourdough, fried calamari sticks, tartar sauce, sandwich.
Okay.
Good stuff, dude.
Have my attention.
Yes. Hey, nothing like a sloppy squid sandwich from Point Loma Seafood. They got other stuff there too, but that's kind of the go-to. And now, that being said, I want to know if Rod is a local or not when it comes to the parking situation at Point Loma Seafood. Have you ever been down? You haven't been down there.
No, I don't go to Point Loma often. If I do, it's usually to Shelter Island.
Go to the airport, pick people up at the airport, Liberty Station.
Well, no, Shelter Island's a very nice
Shelter
place
Island
to go
is
to,
nice. It's a good date spot.
as I've heard.
The parking there is like there's one side lot that's rough, but people are moving in and out of there all the time. Locals know, just wait. It will open up soon. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. I've been at Point Loma Seafood for a long time. You know what I like doing in the fall, since I don't have a football team to root for anymore on Sundays? September, October, great weather in San Diego. Go down to Point Loma Seafood and get yourself a sloppy squid sandwich. Just enjoy the afternoon. Mind if a guy has a day?
Not a bad thought.
Not a bad thought at all. Yes, Brock, he does need to go to Craft Taco. And I will ask him if he has gone again at noon, as is tradition on the show. All right, we had some issues with Fernando in a deal a couple of years ago, in which this came about. It was an article in 2018 that Ken Rosenthal talked about. Fernando kind of praised the idea. Anybody that read that article was like, he did what? Well, now he's actively suing this particular deal. We're not going to get into the legalities of everything. We're going to give you all the information of what Fernando's dealing with here in a lawsuit that got released yesterday from Dennis Lynn in The Athletic and CBS 8. I saw them posted as well. We'll tell you everything you need to know about this, what Fernando put out in a statement, and that's pretty much all you need to know about that, because that's what we do with legalities on this show. We'll talk about the legalities with Fernando when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's number Sports Station 97 through the Fan. All right, let's talk about this Fernando Tatis Jr. situation. I'm not going to give too much of an opinion on it, but I'm just going to lay out what exactly is going on. Our baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fans presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on iPhone 16 Pro. Let's talk about this for a second. Does anybody remember when this happened in 2018? I do. And I have my thoughts on this. I'm not going to sit here and judge because I don't understand, or I'm not in the situation, right? So what happened was in 2018, I'm going to paraphrase. What happened was in 2018, when this article came out, it described how Fernando coming out of the Dominican Republic and a company called Big League Advanced Fund. So Big League Advanced Fund is a company that doesn't necessarily give out loans, but kind of. So what they do is they give a young player, like a teenager or a brand new player. Now, most of the time it's Latin players. They write them a check for like $300,000 up to $1 million, whatever it is. There's a bunch of different deals. And what they do is they give them a check to guarantee them some money that they can use to better themselves to get to the major leagues, or use as kind of a insurance policy if they don't make it to the major leagues. So a lot of these, kids growing up poor that are really good players that might not make it to the top, they have guaranteed money that could change their life. So, and I don't know the exact number as we get to this lawsuit here, but Big League Advance gave Fernando X amount of dollars. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. You have to look it up. Fernando took that money, and in the 2018 article described to Ken Rosenthal, and he was all for it at the time. He took the money that he was given to get better nutrition, get a personal trainer, have a better place to live, to make himself better for the future. Now, in doing so, what Big League Advance Fund does is they give out the loan, and if that player that takes the loan, because it's kind of a loan but not really, If that player takes that loan and they make it to the majors, they owe this company 10% of all future earnings. So, according to the lawsuit, representatives from Big League Advance Fund agreed to front the then baseball prospect, Fernando, $2 million in exchange for a loan on his future earnings. It requires Fernando to pay the company 10% of his future earnings, which means tens of millions of dollars in returns for Big League Advance Fund. If Fernando did not make the majors, he would owe this company nothing. That's part of the deal. So that's why it's not really 100% a loan. So there's a couple of players that might have taken some money, but didn't make the majors. They keep the money, water off a duck's back. But obviously, like any bank would do, they would vet who the person is when you go take out a loan for a business and you pitch the business idea to the bank and it's something ludicrous. They're not going to give you $2 million for it. But you look at a guy like Fernando and the pedigree that he has and the talent that he has, oh yeah, we'll give you $2 million because we know this guy's going to make a fortune. And so 10% of all future earnings goes to them. That's why the whole, the contract that he signed, the $350 million contract, whatever it was, when they signed this is what came out. And we talked about this on the air. Not only was that take about half out for taxes, they get a percentage of the pre-tax contract. So before Fernando gets his paycheck, right? And this is before the PEDs where he lost even more money and the endorsement money he might have lost. So he gets paid. He's got to take 10% of what he got paid on the game, whatever it is, send that to Big League Advance Fund. Then he's got to pay taxes on the money. I mean, it's just like it starts lowering down to a certain level for Fernando. It's not the $350 million whatever he signed for. So that was the deal. Now, Fernando is now suing this company. He says it's, and here's the direct quote, defendants have built a business model that preys on young, financially unsophisticated athletes, offering lump sum advances in exchange for significant portions of their future earnings. Fernando Tatis Jr., an 18-year-old minor league baseball player in 2017, was targeted by defendants and ensnared by their predatory tactics. Lured by promises of immediate payment, plaintiff was fraudulently induced to sign an income share agreement through material misrepresentations and omissions. Such advance could be a student loan where a student agrees to repay a fixed percentage of a student's future gross income after graduation, or as in the case where an 18-year-old Dominican athlete still learning English signs a document committing to pay 10% of his future earnings over the life of his career, here amounting to more than 1,700% of the sum advanced in 2017. In a statement, Padres star outfielder outlined his reasoning for filing the lawsuit. Quote, I'm fighting this battle not just for myself, but for everyone still chasing their dream and hoping to provide a better life for their family. I want to help protect those young players who don't yet know how to protect themselves from these predatory lenders and illegal financial schemes. Baseball should be about passion of the game, not dodging shady businesses driven only by profit and greed. According to the lawsuit, former professional baseball player turned CEO of Big League Advance Fund, Michael Schwimmer, wooed Tatis when he was 18 years old. He took plaintiff to dinner with multiple other parties associated with BLA. The dinner took place at a restaurant, creating an informal setting that contrasted with the significant financial commitment being proposed. During the dinner, Schwimmer and the BLA representatives focused primarily on the promise of providing Tatis Jr. with quick access to a large sum of money. They did not discuss the nature of BLA's business, the legal implications of the proposed agreement, or the fact that BLA and the BLA fund were not licensed as finance lenders in California or any other jurisdiction. See, that's where the big problem ensues. According to the lawsuit, Schwimmer described the $2 million payout as an investment and not a loan. Big League Advance website paints a much different story than the one presented by Tatis Jr.'s attorneys. The website describes its work as partnering with athletes to assist them in achieving their dreams and making it to the pinnacle of their sport by providing the resources they need to focus capital, a professional network, philanthropic, and analytical support. In a 2022 article with CBS Sports, Schwimmer outlined Big League Advance business model through Schwimmer's conversation with a football prospect. The money is yours. There's no payback. Quote, there's only stipulations. There's no fine print if you don't make it. The article later quoted Schwimmer as saying, we're in the same financial position as an agent. You sign 10 guys, 2 make it, 8 don't. You're making a ton of money. Interesting to see where this lawsuit goes. I think there's a lot of bad things on both sides here. Obviously, he agreed to a contract. And according to the contract, it's going to be hard to get out of said contract that he agreed to regardless if he was 18 or not. At the same time, I mean, this is very much seems a little shady. But we talked about this in 2018 when the Ken Rosenthal article came out. And now Fernando Tatis Jr. is suing said company. This company has been sued before. In fact, Francisco Mejia sued this company because he fell victim to the same thing. Again, signed the contract. And he ended up dropping the lawsuit. So I don't know where this goes. I don't know if this is something that's been impacting Fernando over the last couple of weeks or so, handling all of this. But when asked about it yesterday, he had no further comment. Again, he pointed to his statement. This is going to be interesting to pay attention to over the next, obviously, years of how long this takes. But it's interesting that this is coming back. And if you go back and read Ken Rosenthal's article in 2018, Fernando's tone was a little bit different. I mean, he was like buying into the decision that he made. And I think a lot of us questioned it at the time. And this is happening for a lot of other potential players in the future. Again, there's a lot to unpack with this. And this came down yesterday in our show. But obviously it makes a lot of money with, the company. I mean, loaning out hundreds of thousands of dollars and maybe like $1 million. And they only have to pay it back if they make the major leagues. I mean, I can see how you can highly manipulate kids for doing this. But at the same time, I mean, there's fault on both sides. That's a contract you shouldn't be signing. And you ask the question, well, where's some of his advisors? I don't know the situation. I don't know what Fernando's situation was at the time. That will be decided in court. But that's everything you need to know about the lawsuit between Fernando and Big League Advance. Now, whether or not California, because this was filed in the state of California, in the county of San Diego, the fact that they're an unlicensed company in the state of California, I don't know if that's going to be a factor or not, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And we'll get you updates on it if we see any of that. When we come back, a lot to talk about when it comes to the San Diego Padres. We will not discuss this with AJ Cassaville. Obviously, there's not a lot going on with it other than what we just laid out for you. Talk about the potential trade deadline, what happened last night, and everything you know about the San Diego Padres. AJ Cassaville of MLB.com joins us next on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 11:35 on a Tuesday. Joining us now, MLB.com's AJ Cassavell. It covers the Padres. Been doing it for a long time. And, of course, the and I don't have the graphic in front of me. I'd have to look at his Twitter. But he has won the wiffle ball tournament for the Cassavell wiffle ball tournament many times. He's tried to defend his title, I think, this summer or maybe in the fall. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I'm sure AJ can fill us in. But I do have to mention the wiffle ball skills of AJ Cassavell every time he comes on. AJ, what's going on, man?
13-time wiffle ball champion, looking to defend my crown on, I think, August 9th, whatever that weekend is, right after the trade deadline. So hopefully we're up to 14 by then.
All right. Well, let's hope that's the case, because as you might be the reigning champion, we can't not have you. If you aren't the reigning champion, we might have to go with whoever wins the Cassavell tournament to help out the show.
We got some pretty knowledgeable baseball fans in my family. They would probably not do a bad job. So, but for now, I'll take that mantle.
Let's. I do want to ask about the College World Series. You got to go and experience baseball as a fan for the first time in a long time. We talked about it before you went out there and went as a fan. How was your experience going to Omaha, and how was it like to watch a baseball game and not have to write on it?
Well, the second part was my favorite part. It was, it reminds me, not that I need a reminder. I mean, I obviously love the sport, but it reminds me, like, part of why everyone loves it as much as they do. It's really, really just a fun experience. I would say, like, anyone who gets the opportunity to do it, if there's any reason for it, and it's like the first weekend of that tournament, because there's 8 different fan bases from all over the country coming in, like, just do it. It's such a cool bucket list item. It was as fun as I thought it would be, perhaps even funner. And it was like, I don't know. I have one of my best friends from college moved to Omaha 8 or 9 years ago. He's been telling me to go every year, and he was moving this year. And so this is my last chance to do it with a place to stay. And I took that weekend off and went, and it's just a big weekend long, I guess probably 10-day long. I was only there for the first 2 days, but it's just a big baseball party. And really fun environment. I don't think even fans of losing teams, I don't think anyone's having a bad time. The baseball is exciting. It's different if you're a major league, if you cover the majors and you watch, I don't know, 130, 140 games a year like I do, like, it's different. There's just, it's not as clean, and it gives you, I guess, a heightened respect for what big leaguers do, but it's also kind of exciting to see these guys playing for the biggest prize in their sport and maybe not playing the same kind of game that we watch every single night. So it's a little reprieve from what I'm used to, and maybe a little more bunting, a little more deking, a little more pitchers with funky deliveries that haven't been honed yet. I enjoyed the heck out of it, and anyone who gets the chance to do it, I would highly, highly recommend.
Something that's on my bucket list. The next time the Frogs make it, I'll probably make my way out there. If they do, I've missed many years in a row in which they have been able to make it to Omaha. AJ Cassavell, MLB.com, joining us right now on the Braden Surprenant Show. Let's talk about the Padres. Obviously, last night, a little bit of a clunker, but over the last week or so, the biggest storyline for most of the season has been Xander Bogaerts and the lack of production. There's been some cases of, players are talking about the work he puts in and everything that he does to try to get better results, and nobody is bothered by it more than Xander. As of late, he started to turn it on a little bit. Last night, was 0 for 3, but 11 for 19 over a last couple of days stretch. What's been the biggest difference for Xander?
I think a couple things. It's hard to really pinpoint exactly what it is. Like, it's partly just baseball being weird, I think. And like Mike Schultz has overstated just how unlucky Xander Bogaerts has gotten. Like, he likes to say it's just been a product of batted ball luck, and it's clearly been more than that. Like, Xander Bogaerts has not been very good, but he hasn't gotten lucky. The numbers indicate that he has been, the numbers in terms of batted ball data and how hard he's hitting it and what he's doing indicate he's been slightly better than what he was, but still bad. And so then all of a sudden last week, I think it was last Wednesday, he didn't take batting practice. And he says that maybe only twice in his career has he not taken batting practice before a game. This is maybe the third time. And that's I think 11, 12, 13-year career. And all of a sudden he goes out, gets a game-tying double, then racks up, I think, like 8 hits and 9 at-bats, and all of a sudden he's on this tear. So maybe that's what it is. Just doesn't need to be taking batting practice. I think he says it's more a product of him feeling more connected at the plate, that front shoulder staying in a little better. I don't know what tweaks he made to make that happen, but like when he's going poorly, we all know what he does. He hits those kind of slow grounders to third, grounders to short, and he's kind of just pulling off it with his swing. He doesn't look like that right now. He looks like connected, and he's hitting line drives kind of wherever they're pitched. He's not that low and away. The low and away slider doesn't become a 5-3. It becomes a single to right. And that's what Xander Bogaerts is when he's going at his best. And if the Padres can get this going forward, that would obviously be huge for them, because I'll say it, people want to talk about Xander Bogaerts' value in the context of his contract. And I understand that. He's not going to live up to the numbers on that contract. That's just the reality. Like he's not going to be that kind of player. But if Xander Bogaerts can be a 740 OPS shortstop with the defense he's played this year, which despite all the struggles at the plate, he's been outstanding defensively. That's still a good player on a good team. Like that's above average what you're getting from most shortstops on most teams. And I think that like that should be the baseline. Shouldn't be living up to the contract. The baseline should be how do you get the most out of what Xander Bogaerts is. And I think he could be that guy.
AJ Casville, MLB.com, joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show, talking everything Padres right now. Padres in the midst of the series against the Washington Nationals. Big topic of discussion every time the Padres play the Nationals is, because fans like to know about winning trades and losing trades. The Juan Soto trade, and a lot of pieces in the Juan Soto trade last night burned the Padres. Overall, from many times that we've had to talk about this from people in the organization and that you've talked to, how do the Padres evaluate how that trade has worked out? Do they still believe that it was something that they would do not more times than not, or do you think the Padres are having a little bit of remorse or maybe buyer's remorse on potentially selling some of these guys?
I know this isn't going to make fans happy, but I don't think they regret it. I think they knew exactly what they were giving up, exactly the potential of the pieces they were giving up, and they knew that they were getting Juan Soto. And so there's regret. There's obviously regret. But the regret isn't that they traded James Wood and C.J. Abrams and Mackenzie Gore for Juan Soto. The regret is that they didn't win in 2022, 2023, 2024. Are we looking back at this differently? If the Padres, in my opinion, all three of those teams had a ceiling that was winning the World Series. And 2022, 2024, obviously, because those teams were very close to actually doing so. 2023, that roster was as good as any of the other two teams, and just I don't need to rehash all the things that went wrong that season. But they built a team that had a World Series ceiling for those 3 seasons and didn't win. And I don't know how much, if any of that gets put on Juan Soto. The 2024 season obviously wasn't there, but they got Dylan Cease and Michael King with Juan Soto. So my question is, how are we framing this differently if the Padres one of those years make that run and win it? And in all honesty, they did make some pretty solid playoff runs and give the fan base some pretty high highs in the postseason, just without that final reward. So anyway, I guess it's a long way of saying, I don't view trades in terms of winning the trade and losing the trade when they are this nuanced. The Padres won the Tatis trade. They lost the Trey Turner trade. Those are, I think we can look at those trades and say that's a win, that's a loss. This one is a team that had a chance to win a World Series, trying to maximize that chance at the expense of its future in 2025 and beyond. And they did maximize that chance by trading for Juan Soto. They didn't maximize that chance, maybe with some other things that went wrong. Who the heck knows? 2022, some pitching strings are pulled differently in the postseason, or if Fernando Tatis Jr. is available in the postseason, maybe they do it. None of that has anything to do with Juan Soto. Last year, they have Michael King and Dylan Cease in the rotation. And if Joe Musgrove doesn't blow out his elbow in game 2 of the wild card series, maybe they go on and do it. And we'd look back on that trade a lot differently. It's the long way of saying, I think people are going to talk about the Padres having lost the trade, and I just do not see it that way. I think they made a move that at the time gave them a better chance to win, knowing what the cost would be, and now they're just paying that cost.
I totally agree with you, AJ. As we talked about earlier on in the show, talking Padres baseball, AJ Casville from MLB.com covers the Padres on a daily basis, 15 seasons at MLB.com. Pitching-wise for the Padres, obviously Michael King and Yu Darvish are on the injured list. Hopefully to getting them back soon would be great. What's the latest that we have on those two potential players?
Yeah, more clarity on Darvish than King, but at least King is starting to, I wouldn't say ramp up his throwing, but he's starting to throw a little more. As of right now, that's still just part of like a keep the arm moving. It's not part of any build-up or throwing progression. I think we'll learn more when King starts attacking a throwing progression to get back. Don't know when that'll be. We talked to him recently, and he kind of seemed to indicate that like with nerve issues, it's tricky, but it takes time and rest to recover. And based on the track record of players with other nerve issues, granted, like this specific nerve, I believe the long thoracic nerve, it's not an injury that occurs in major league pitchers. So there's not like a specific timetable for recovery. But with other nerve issues, you look back, I think Parker Meadows had one in his bicep, and he was back in 2 months. So 2 months from the time of the injury. So like, it's just a rest thing. And once that nerve fires and he gets the strength in his shoulder, the shoulder is structurally sound, which is the important part. So long way of saying, don't know when King's coming back, but I think there's reason for optimism. As for Darvish, a little more clarity there. He is going to throw another simulated game. He's going to face hitters again on Wednesday. His last one was 2 innings. I would assume this next one goes to 3 innings. Maybe you're looking at 4 innings in a rehab environment in the following time after that, and then who knows? That could set him up for a pre-All-Star break return if all goes well, but that might be assuming a lot given the fact that Darvish has slowed his recovery before when he's maybe felt some soreness in that elbow. So I think Darvish, a reasonable timeline is sometime in July. Just not entirely sure when.
Last question for you, AJ, and it's obviously the trade deadline's a very fun time for Padres fans over the last couple of years when you got AJ Preller pulling the strings, and he usually goes after and sometimes grabs players that you didn't even know were available. What's the latest that we have on the Padres deadline? I mean, I think we can safely assume that they are buying unless something catastrophically happens. But it sounds like they're shopping for a left fielder or a catcher. Or what's going on the trade deadline front for AJ Preller?
Yeah, they have a lot of holes on this team, and that's we talked earlier about the window the Padres had in 2022 to 2024. And my question is, like, is that window still open? And looking at the roster as it currently is constructed, I don't think it is, but I think the avenue for it to be still open is there. Like, they need to get another bat. They probably need to get another starter. Catcher, I think those are hard to find and can be expensive. If you have those guys in the number 9 spot, Maldonado and Diaz, but you can bolster your bench and you can bolster your left field situation, and you can probably appropriately pinch hit for them and maybe mitigate some of their offensive struggles or deficiencies. But catcher is a need. I think they're going to look to address all those things. I don't know if they can swing for the fences like they have in the past, just given the prospects that they've traded away and who they have right now. But I don't think they need to swing for the fences. I think there's left fielders available. Left field is a position. It's not shortstop. It's not center field. It's easier to find, and it's easier to find someone who can just plug in there. That's their biggest need. I think they don't need a front line starting pitcher, but they could use someone who could cover innings at the back end. That's their second biggest need. And then I think it's a mishmash of getting another bat, maybe looking at the catcher market, seeing if it's something's there. And you can always add a reliever, I think, too. So a lot of needs. I don't think any of them are of the blockbuster variety, but this is AJ Preller, so I will never, ever rule that out.
Never can rule that out with AJ. AJ, we appreciate the time as always. Look forward to talking again. See you at the ballpark tomorrow.
All right, great. See you there, Braden.
AJ Cassavell, MLB.com, San Diego Padres beat reporter, giving us the updates on the San Diego Padres. Trade deadline's going to be interesting. Sounds like the Padres are going to be buying. We'll talk about that as it progresses. It's time for Frank's Sports Thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what's going on in the non-Padres world?
There's a lot going on in the non-Padres world, as a matter of fact.
Number 1.
The Indiana Pacers dropped Game 7 of the NBA Finals on Sunday night, and one of the stories coming out of the game was Tyrese Halliburton's Achilles injury. Halliburton had surgery to repair his ruptured Achilles yesterday and wrote a lengthy emotional post on Twitter afterwards. Halliburton was already playing with a strained calf in Games 6 and 7 and had said about playing injured, quote, "I'd do it again and again after that to fight for this city and my brothers." Halliburton is expected to miss the entirety of the 25-26 season. Will Halliburton stick to his word, or was this an emotional plea from a 25-year-old?
But I play through injury all the time?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. I mean, it's the finals, right? Like, you can't... I mean, if he's not going to play there, when is he ever going to play? I mean, that's when you want to be out at your best. And him at 50% was still better than probably what was behind him. So he did it to try to win for the city. Unfortunately, it made it worse, and now he's going to sit out most of next year, if not the entire year. It's the gamble they took, and you know what? He'd be considered a hero if they won, and they didn't win.
Yep, absolutely.
Number 2.
The Arizona Diamondbacks cannot keep away from the injury bug this season, as another superstar has gone down for them. It was announced a few weeks ago that prized free agent signing Corbin Burns was done for the year with Tommy John surgery, and now Corbin Carroll has been placed on the 15-day IL with a broken wrist. Carroll was injured last Wednesday when he was hit by a pitch in Toronto. All of this being bad enough before Eugenio Suarez was taken out of last night's game after being hit in the hand. Could mounting injuries force Arizona's hand at the trade deadline?
I think it could, because we discussed this off air. They got a lot of impending free agents that are playing really, really well. And if you're a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks, you're going to lose a lot of these players at the end of the season. And you have 3 teams in front of you in the standings. You're playing around 500. They could get a lot back for all of these players at the trade deadline. I mean, if they flood the market, I think that's good news for the Padres, even though the Padres might not be able to trade with Arizona because Arizona's like trading with the Pods. Floods the market, all of a sudden, all the other players become a little bit more affordable. So we'll see where the Diamondbacks decide to go. But if you look at they got a young roster that they can build around with some prospects that are close. If they can get some prospects that are close, it's not a bad deal for them to potentially sell.
Number 3.
From the world of "I hate you, but I have to do my job" comes an update about the Oaklamento A's. Yesterday was a big day for Rob Manfred, John Fisher, and, well, nobody else, as the A's broke ground on their brand new $1.75 billion, it's billion with a B, dollar stadium. And the A's say the stadium will, quote, "no doubt be ready for the 2028 season as planned." The distinguished pairing of Manfred and Fisher stood in front of a "We Are Vegas's team" banner like a bunch of dopes, neglecting the fact that the Golden Knights play there and have actually won something. Am I the only person outside of Oakland whose name is not Damon Amendolara who is sickened by all of this going on?
I'm sickened by it too. I just think it's Spanos 2.0.
Yeah,
is what it is
100%.
with everything like that. I just love the fact they broke ground and there's still like financial issues. They'll deal with it later, is what they said in that article. They still don't have it fully funded yet. So what are they gonna do? Start the project and they get it shut down because they run out of money?
It's the A's way, though.
Oh my God.
It is the A's way to do something.
Talk
like
about
that,
building a $1 billion stadium on a budget, I guess. I wonder how many corners they cut.
We Are
make that
Vegas's team, you bunch of morons.
We Are Vegas's team. Not the organization that started in Vegas. The only org that started in Vegas that has won a Stanley Cup. Not that organization.
Made it to the Stanley Cup their first year of existence.
Not that team. We're talking about the team that's moved 1,000 times. They're Vegas. Lunchtime hour when we come back. Anybody mind if Rod has a day? Braden Surprenant Show. Sending us on Sports Station 970.
Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. It's presented by the Craft Taco. This noon lunch hour brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors at 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. Frank, you've been to Craft Taco yet? Your mic was off, so I have no idea. If
I swore I would never lie on air again, so no.
We'll try again tomorrow, folks. We will try again tomorrow. You know, today would be a great day to go to Craft Taco for me. But I have meal prepped the whole week. But here's what I got later on this afternoon. No fair today, correct? Fair's closed on Tuesdays.
Right. I believe Tuesday and Wednesday the fair's closed.
This is the best Tuesday that the fair could be closed. Because after today, I need a nap so bad. I don't nap a lot, but today is like a day that I would need one, and I'm not going to get one. So last night I played. So yesterday after the show, we went and hit OTL. Already had one team since then DM me, and I got them shirts. Our guy Andy DM me. He's got an OTL team, wants 3 pink shirts, all large, set. Got you. Go rep on July 12th. But we went and hit OTL yesterday, a couple of the teams that we're going to be playing that we have in the tournament. So I hit OTL yesterday for a couple, and none of this is like, woe is me. This is all fun. I'm enjoying life. So go out there and hit OTL for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I had 4 softball games last night, in which people always go like, are you out of your mind? Maybe. So I had a game at 7, game at 8. If we won at 8, we played at 9, which we did. And then I had a game at 10. I play on 3 teams on Mondays. And one of the teams had playoffs. We ended up losing the championship by 2 runs, but I don't really care. It's a weekly softball league. And the thing about losing the championship, you play the next week. Just an endless cycle. Mike Swing.
I have a question.
I might have an answer.
Because you lost the championship game, did
Correct.
you lose the Juan Soto trade?
I don't know. We might have lost maybe the backdoor sliders trade, since that was the name of their team.
Might have done.
But yes, so I play on a co-ed team on Mondays, a men's lower and a men's upper. I think they bumped the men's lower team up, so I might only be on 2 teams now, which is unfortunate. But then we played at 10, and the 10 o'clock game was delayed because of earlier games, one of them that I was a part of. I felt bad because we were winning. This is the 8 o'clock game. Frank, we were winning 16-5.
Oof.
We're the home team. There is 7 seconds left. And a full count to our batter with 2 outs. And if he gets out in those 7 seconds, we have to play another inning. He swings, which he had to, is full count. And he hits a line drive right at the left fielder who catches it with 3 seconds on the clock. So we had to go out there and play another inning. And at that time, it was already running late. So then it was like, oh, my God.
See, that's one where you look over and go, really? Did we have to do this? Really? Like, did we have to?
AJ got yelled at by all of his name's AJ. He got yelled at by all the guys on the team. Like, bro, really? Hit it foul?
It's like
something?
I understand rules is rules, but like, do we have to?
Yeah. So we had to go out there, but it extended all the games. And so it came back to bite me in the ass because my 10 o'clock game didn't start till like 10:15, 10:20. Got out there at like 11:20, 11:30. And when you do any type of physical activity late at night, you're up. You're like juiced up, ready to go. So like I didn't go to bed until about 1, by 12:31. I'd practice this morning. I'd be up at 5 with the football practice from 6 to 8:30.
So you are running on 3 hours of sleep and a dream right now.
Say, hey, in my coffee that I'm out of now,
which I have lost.
I do not have it now because I'm out of said coffee. Yes, and so when we are done today, to bring it all back to the Craft Taco thing, I'm heading up the coast to Carlsbad. Don't have to worry about fare traffic. Why? There's no fare today. It's great. Because we have 7-on-7 at Carlsbad against the Lancers. Against Thad McNeil's Carlsbad Lancers at 4:30. We start at 4:30, got to be there at 4. And then after that, I will come home and hopefully not fall asleep during the Padres game. There's no nap time mixed in there. I will probably have to eat one of my meal preps in between, but it'd be a great day for the Craft Taco. Go up the coast. What's our weather looking like? It's starting to get sunny here in Serra Mesa.
Yeah, it's starting to get better.
So that's what we got on that. We'll talk about the lunch. Rod is having a great lunchtime hour. Rod, have a day, my guy. Rod is at Point Loma Seafood. It looks sunny in the picture. He tagged us on social media. It's sunny. It's good outside. He's eating a sandwich on sourdough. It looked like a tuna sandwich. Didn't look like the sloppy squid. It's got some onion rings. Guy's having a day. Go out there and have a day. Now, we got the guy that only comes into the chat when the Padres lose. Didn't see this guy last week. Guy's never happy. The guy is never happy. He might be the most miserable fan I've ever seen. And he comes in the chat today. Haven't seen him in like 3 days. Nothing after the 11 for 19 for Xander Bogaerts. Nothing. Just crickets. Padres lose last night too. Again, he just hates AJ Preller, so he has to go on this thing about like blah 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 blah. So he's in the chat today. He's like, I'm curious to hear how Braden defends all these trades. I said, I can't defend the Trey Turner trade. That's probably the worst trade that Preller has done. The Max Fried one, okay, not that great. But other than those two in his first year where he's kind of rebuilding the whole farm system to players that he likes. So I think you can make the argument on that with the Max Fried deal. And you look at some of these names, like the Brent Rucker deal. I can't believe he traded Brent Rucker. Brent Rucker had like 2 at-bats for the Padres. Just a throw-in the Chris Paddock deal with Taylor Rogers. He ends up being good. I mean, it's not that bad of a deal, though. I mean, whatever it was. I don't even know what they sent Brent Rucker for. How do you defend the Josh Naylor trade? Well, as AJ Cassavell specifically alluded to, if anybody ever listens or pays attention, which who knows? The Josh Naylor trade was part of the Clevenger deal. At the time, you needed another starting pitcher because in 2020, you thought you could win if you went out there and got an arm and you went out there and got a catcher, which they did, and they almost completely flipped their roster. It's not the Padres' fault Mike Clevenger blew out his arm. Also not the Padres' fault that Dinelson Lamet blew out his arm and ended his career. I would rather have a general manager go for it every year that we have a window than not because he's protecting prospects. I thought AJ Cassavell said it perfectly when it comes to trades. You can't view trades like that. Who won? Who lost? They clearly lost the Trey Turner trade, and they clearly won the Fernando Tatis Jr. trade. But aside from that, most of the trades are pretty much a wash or slightly advantaging one team than the other. Again, how much is the Nationals trade and the Juan Soto deal worked out for them? In terms of overall wins and losses, not a whole hell of a lot. Are they going to be better in the future? They might. And good for them. But in terms of the Padres window, if the player helped the Padres during their window, it's a success for the Padres. I don't know how much more specific I got to be on that. They probably won the Josh Hader trade too. I mean, eventually guys are going to leave your organization and become all-stars. It might happen. You can't keep everybody. And a lot of these players that end up getting shipped off, I do recall a lot of the time, Padres fans want them gone. The Luis Arraez trade was good. Go look back at all the players that they traded away for Luis Arraez and Tanner Scott and tell me they didn't come out on top. Again, they're trying to win in this window. I bet you can't even remember some of the players that they traded away for Darvish. And they've made so many trades. They traded the 30th best prospect in the organization for Joe Musgrove. He ended up throwing a no-hitter for you. So again, like the whole, I just feel like sometimes Padres fans love being miserable and they got to find ways to be miserable. There's nothing to be miserable about. I said I can defend any trade that they make because in the moment of time, it made sense. You have to evaluate things in the moment of time of whether or not it makes sense. Not hindsight down the road. Who cares? And right now it's defense because a lot of people like to bitch and moan about all the trades that may or may not have happened. I'm in the middle. Just laying out the facts. It's never as good as you think. It's never as bad as you think. You can't have this, I love this deal when it happens, and then now the future doesn't work. Now I hate this deal. You know what that is? That makes you a windsock. That makes you a windsock. SB might be the king of the windsocks in our chat. Can we put a windsock next to his name on the YouTube thing instead of making, like we got the wrench for being a moderator? He is the king of the windsocks. Blowing whatever which way the direction is with the wind.
I think that's something like that's a subscriber thing. I think he's got to pay to be a subscriber, and then we can.
He should pay to be a subscriber to get the windsock. I should start handing out windsocks. Windsocks. His last comment doesn't even make any sense. He's like, if I'm a windsock, what's AJ Preller? He's a general manager, dude. He's not changing his opinions. He's making deals. Keep swaying. Keep swaying. Windsock. Don't be a windsock. We have very specific rules on this show. Rule number 1, don't be a windsock. SB, king of the windsocks. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's talk about some of your favorite players. Your favorite player. There was a huge article about him. Not that huge. But Dennis Lin wrote an article about him yesterday. Did anybody read that article? Please put in the chat if you read Dennis Lin's article. I'd love to know. We are going to talk about Dennis Lin's article and why it's important when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standings #1 Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 12:18 lunchtime hour presented by Craft Taco, Serrano Valley, inside Balboa and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. Frank Marchese, Braden Surprenant. Talking a lot about the San Diego Padres, as we always do. The difference of our shows between wins and losses is just hilarious. Hilarious. Love it. Non-stop entertaining. I'm entertained all the time. You guys keep it entertaining. You keep it fun. It's better than like just being in a vacuum where everybody says the same thing. I mean, it's so radically different. Back and forth. Let's talk about Xander Bogaerts for a second. Oh, here we go. Ugh. He's finally gotten off to he's starting to put it together a little bit. He's had a little bit of bad luck, and Dennis Lin has laid out a really good article, if you haven't read it, on Xander Bogaerts has underperformed for the Padres. He's also been quite unlucky. There's a couple things I want to point out in this article. Again, if you haven't read it, you should. Because, Frank, how many times have we gotten phone calls from people that say they don't like Bogaerts because he doesn't try and he doesn't try to get better?
You want this week or since I've been on the show? Or
Right. It's not necessarily the numbers aren't there. It's all about, well, he doesn't look like he tries. He doesn't look like he cares. And I pointed to, and remember the phone call we had a couple of weeks ago where that's exactly what one of our callers said. And I said, did you read the article from Kevin Acee about Xander Bogaerts and what his teammates said about him? What was the answer?
No, I skimmed through it, but no.
The answer was no. Oh, you mean about the one that he was running on the beach? No, not the one in October. The one with before this kind of little stretch in the middle of the season. Xander Bogaerts, again, this is why I defend this guy. AJ Cassaville brought it up. You cannot evaluate players based on their contracts. Xander Bogaerts was never going to live up to his contract. You must evaluate the players based on, can you get value out of this guy that helps out a good team? He is a good player on a good team. Defensively, he contributes. He's the seventh best defensive shortstop in Major League Baseball, according to Fangraphs. He is top 10 out of Major League shortstops in base running. And the biggest problem that he has had is his offense, which you could say is not very good. But again, I point to the metrics. Because everybody that sees older players not put up the numbers that they used to put up immediately goes like, the guy's cooked. If you want to look at those numbers, you look at exit velo, you look at a lot of the different metrics on Baseball Savant, and they are all pointing in the right direction. So then offensively, you look at some of the averages compared to the expected averages. Shows a little bit of unluckiness. Not all of it's unlucky, though. I mean, Xander has not been that great this season. But there is some not so great luck in there as well. Going into yesterday's game, Xander's in 252 and slugging 352, which is not that great. It's okay. His expected batting average is 272. 20 points higher than his regular batting average on his stats versus expected stats. That tells you he's not getting very lucky. Now, when you look at his slugging 352, his expected slugging is 396. He is almost around 40 points lower on his slugging. So again, he's got the ability. He's getting a little unlucky, but at the same time, there's a couple things that he obviously needs to tweak, which I think he's been working on while he was 11 for 19 over the weekend. It's not a really big cause for concern. You look at what his teammates said about him. This is what I think is the most important thing. Guys like Jackson Merrill. He cares. That's all you can ask for is he cares. I'm just honored to be on the same team. Most of the Padres have said that he is one of the guys that works the most out of the organization, something that the Red Sox knew about. Bogaerts earned, in the article by Dennis Lin, Bogaerts earned a reputation over a decade with the Boston Red Sox, winning 2 World Series, playing in 4 All-Star games, and spending untold hours poring over video and tinkering inside the batting cage. In San Diego, coaches and teammates say his preparation remains as advertised. Arguably, no Padres player works harder or longer. So again, most of this is defending outlandish takes. I am not glazing the Padres or their players, but I will counter a lot of points that are unfair towards the players and the team. So the unfair comments are just assuming that Xander Bogaerts doesn't care because he's making a lot of money and the results aren't there. That's an insane assumption. The other thing with some of these, about assuming with some of the takes on some of the topics, which everybody calls me a glazer. Trust me, dude. I do not glaze the San Diego Padres. It might sound a little bit on air, but most of it is just staying in the middle because it's never as good as you think and it's never as bad as you think. And so sometimes, and again, if I disagree with some people in the YouTube chat, people just go like, oh, he hates his audience. No, I don't. I love all the conversations that we have. But sometimes you have to look at the reality of the situation instead of trying to have these preconceived notions about some people in the organization that you don't like. And that's where I start defending some of these players. Because it starts going into personal attacks towards players or people in the organization because you have come to the conclusion you don't like them because you said they're not very good, and so therefore you are hoping they're not very good because you'd rather be right than let the Padres have success. There are people like that. There are people like that in our YouTube chat. There are people like that. I have friends like that. They went out with a take that this person sucks, and I would rather have them fail to make myself look right than just be like, I hope he turns it around. I've said that about a lot of players. Where I'm like, I don't think this guy can get it done. But I'm going to tell you right now, I hope he does because it's for the betterment of the team. I don't really care how much he's making. I could defend every move that AJ Preller has done. I didn't say I agree with all the moves, but I can play the card of defending every one of his moves. I could crush every one of his moves too. Every single move that was laid out in the YouTube chat today that AJ Preller screwed up, I could see both sides to it. Now, the fact that most people in the chat were saying they disagree with the move and they said XYZ, all I said is I can make a counter argument that all those moves, I understand where those come from. You can understand those particular moves. So again, it might seem like I'm totally opposite of my audience. I'm in the middle. Try to lay things out both ways and let the people decide what you think. I'll have my opinion on things too. But again, for me, wasting my time yelling about the same player that's stuck on the team forever is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Go read the article. See what the organization and the players think about this player, and then go like, why would they get rid of him? It makes no sense. And it turns into defending. It's not defending. I'm just laying it out like it's supposed to be. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Xander Bogaerts has all the tools to turn things around. He does. He has all the tools to turn things around. I would be more worried if his exit velo was down. I'd be more worried if his chase rate was down. I'd be more worried about the strikeout percentage. I mean, all of the metrics that would show that a player is aging and does not care, Xander Bogaerts does not show. He's still hitting the ball really hard, and a lot of it, unfortunately, is right at people. Again, I'd be more worried if it was the other thing. He's helping contribute to wins. Once you get the roster assembled, that's all you're really looking for. Don't get in the semantics of like, well, he cost this much and he cost. You can't view it like that. You have to view it as this is the team that they have. These are the guys that we think are going to contribute to wins, and Xander is one of those players. They do need to add some other pieces, and we'll wait to see what they decide to do closer to the deadline. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Give me a call if you want to weigh in on today's show. When we come back, we do need a contestant for a midday sports standoff. If you call in and take me down in trivia, you'll be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize. Celebrate summer with a spa and pool getaway at Resorts World Las Vegas, some of the largest elevated pool complex on the Strip. You will receive a 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas, dine poolside at one of the 5 unique pool experiences, and experience the ultimate in relaxation and wellness at Awana Spa, one of the largest co-ed spa facilities in Las Vegas. To book your summer stay, please visit rwlasvegas.com. We'll do that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 12:35, getting ready for the midday sports standoff. We do have a contestant ready to go, so we're excited for that. Coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll talk a little bit about the National League West. What a time to be in the National League West. It's loaded. Although the Arizona Diamondbacks, unfortunately, might be coming back down to earth a little bit. They might be the team that shakes the trade deadline because of the players that they have available at the deadline. If they decide to sell, they want to punt on the season. So we will see what they got in store. We'll talk about that in the 1 o'clock hour. They got a lot of pieces that could be traded that could mix things up. Overall, we heard it from AJ Cassavell earlier on the show today, about an hour ago, about what the Padres need, their biggest need. Left field was on the list. He said a catcher situation is on there, and maybe an arm to eat innings, but not necessarily a front-end starter. I agree with all those things. And the thing is, it's like, and people, and it's funny, somebody mentioned the Reddit, like people on Reddit. Reddit is a place for people to anonymously bitch about stuff. And Twitter's kind of like that too, and X. I can't get involved with that. And it's funny, and we brought up the perspective last year, and I'm trying to convince people slowly on how to like enjoy a baseball season. Is that fair, Frank, to say? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm trying to do that. There's a lot of flaws with a lot of teams, and there's a lot of flaws with the Padres. And again, I don't get paid by them. I work for Odyssey. I'm here for entertainment purposes. But I'm trying to bring some perspective to try to bring some happiness into people's lives here. And I got to a point, I mean, I'm seeing, and people are like, nobody loves the Padres. Nobody wants me to win. Nobody wants the Padres to win more than me. All right, yeah, fine. There's a difference between holding teams accountable and holding teams to unrealistic expectations that they will never reach and will never bring you to happiness. We can compare. I mean, the biggest problem with a lot of these things, especially in baseball, like you live on the fact that you think that all teams in baseball are created equally. And I think everybody can agree that's not the case. I would say that the Padres financially and ownership-wise and where they're at are way more better off than the Oaklamento A's. Would you agree with that, Frank?
I would agree so, and thank you for using their proper term.
I knew the only way you would respond is if I said Oaklamento. That perked you up a little bit. So I would say the same thing about any of the teams. Like, there's tiers to it. Not all teams are created equal in Major League Baseball. And a lot of them have different problems, right? More money, more problems. The New York Mets spend a lot of money on players. Frank knows this. He's a Mets fan. He watches the Mets every day. They spend a lot of money. They have a lot of problems themselves. Let's talk about a different team for like 35 seconds. The Mets right now, Frank, where are they at in the standings?
I think we just fell out of first, I think. I think they're second now.
In the division or in the National League? Because they were first in the National League for a long time, too.
Let's see here. Yeah, they're second by a game and a half in the division.
Would you consider that the Mets are a perfect team?
God, no. We just sent our catcher down.
What do the Mets need at the deadline?
Starting pitching for one. They would need a center fielder because Jose Siri's done for the year. You'd need a little bit of outfield depth as well. Bullpen help. A catcher would be nice that can actually hit.
What a lengthy list for a team that's the second best team in the National League. Right? I mean, that's every team. The Chicago Cubs need a brand new bullpen. They're 46-32. The Phillies have gone on some stretches that are just rough. And the thing is, you always look at like the fans' complaining about the negative. And every team's going to be negative. There's going to have a negative. There's not a perfect team out there. So to have your sights on your team being as perfect as can be, that's not holding them accountable. It's setting them to unrealistic expectations. It's only going to upset you. So if you go through the season, let's play this out hypothetically. And I can't believe I'm even talking like this because I'm not a very positive person. I've been told. You guys are fooled. I fool you guys every day with the positivity. But I try to keep things positive. It's better in life to be positive. I'm not overly positive, but I think it's perspective. I would consider Frank to be, how do I say this? As a Mets fan, would you consider to be an optimistic Mets fan or a pessimistic Mets fan?
Pessimistic.
Right. Do you enjoy watching Mets games?
There are days. There certainly are days.
There are days, but I mean, if you go through the entire season.
There are also nights, like if the Mets have a 4-run lead in the 9th inning against the Braves, I am expecting Edwin Diaz to gag it up. That's just the expectation now. It's because I've seen it so many times.
You're waiting for disaster. You're waiting for disaster.
And it goes back to what I said earlier in the show, which is if you're a fan of a losing organization, you just wait for the other shoe to fall. When you finally get something good, you're just waiting for the bad thing to happen to ruin it, as it always does.
I feel that too as a Padres fan. Now, that being said, how many times, Frank, do you flush it after a loss in baseball? Now, see, here's where your fandom mixes in with everyday work, right? Because the more you work in the industry, the less of a fan you are, is what they say. So when you talk about it from that perspective, I mean, how many times you sit there like, we got to flush this?
It's usually when I wake up in the morning, it's gone.
It's gone. I can't bitch and moan about it. We could talk about some things here and there, but I usually the next morning figure out, okay, here's where we're still okay. I saw somebody tweet that out the other day. He was like, every night I go to bed, I feel like the Padres are cooked for 2025. Every day when I wake up in the morning, I feel like they're going to win a World Series. So we're trying to just enjoy the baseball season. Enjoy it. Because I think the more you view things of the past, of all the trades that didn't go the way, all the years that they didn't win a World Series, all of the negative, how do you enjoy the season? I'm generally asking the question, like, how do you enjoy the season? If the entire season, let's roll this out there, okay, Frank?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you live the entire season out, like some of our fans. That's not all of them. Like a lot of people listening understand this is ridiculous. But if you go through the entire Padres season, let's say they are going to win the 2025 World Series, but none of us know it. Okay, let's just say that. It's a season that they're going to win the World Series. If you go through the entire season like this, and then they win the World Series, do you say the season was all fun and everything was great? Or you just remember the fact that all the negative times that you went through the season?
Depends on who you are. I mean, if you're our buddy in the chat, you're thinking about the game they blew in April, right, even though you got a ring.
Well, I almost feel like it would turn into, well, we could have had more if we didn't make these bad decisions.
Yeah.
So now, is that holding the team accountable, or is that looking at the glass half empty?
It's half empty.
So there's a difference.
That's setting
a major difference,
an unreachable level of expectation.
If you expected Xander Bogaerts to hit 300 and hit 30 home runs, and he doesn't do that, being upset about that is not holding him accountable. That's having the glass half empty.
And this is what I told you when he was going on his tear, was he could hit 900 the rest of the year, and somebody will be upset that he didn't hit 910.
Correct.
It's like that's not a fan.
And the one that really got is like some people said, I want the Padres to be run by the Dodgers, like the Dodgers. As we mentioned before, it started this entire thing before we get to the sports fix or the midday sports standoff. I would consider that an unrealistic expectation. What do you think?
One more
to
time.
hold the Padres to the Dodgers standards of how they run their organization.
That's unrealistic for anyone.
Unrealistic. That's unrealistic for the Mets, correct?
Yeah, that's unrealistic for any team.
That's unrealistic for the New York Yankees, the New York Mets, the Boston Red Sox, the San Francisco Giants.
That's unrealistic for the Lakers. That's unrealistic for the Patriots. That's unrealistic for the Canadiens. That's unrealistic for anyone.
It's an unrealistic expectation. So if you want a team to be run like the best ever perfect organization, at least on paper.
And Everly just said it in the chat. It would all be worth it, just one ring. Which goes back to the conversation that we had at the beginning of the show, which was you would not care what CJ Abrams or James Wood or what Robert Hassel III are doing or Mackenzie Gore are doing in Washington right now had Soto won a ring here. You would not care a lick about it.
If they win the World Series this year, it's a game of what ifs. The Padres win the World Series this year. Do you care what happens to James Wood and CJ Abrams after that?
No.
Even if Soto's not even part of this.
No shot.
I don't care anymore. It changes the dynamic of things, but the fact that they haven't won yet is making everybody a little bit more antsy. But like I said before, and I'll say it again, cannot treat the MLB season like an NFL season. It's just going to make you upset. And there's no reason getting super upset about it's frustrating. I'm not going to say it's not frustrating. But at the same time, like reeling it in a little bit, I think you have to have a little bit of perspective. There's a difference between, and again, holding players accountable. Look, to me, you get on players for lack of effort, a lack of trying, not caring. Those are all big reasons to get mad at baseball players specifically.
100%.
But in a game of failure, one night can't blow up every single time that they lose.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, cannot overly get excited every time they win. What does that make you? A win sock. Like, I can't sit here every day and just and I see people like bloggers do this all the time. They just smash the Padres when they're down, and then they kiss their ass when they're good. That makes you not credible. You don't have an opinion on anything. You're just like blowing with the wind. You are a windsock. I can't go out here every single time they lose and just be like, sell the team. And then every time they beat the Dodgers once or they win a couple of games in a row, they're going to the playoffs. Why would anybody believe what I have to say? You don't have to. So again, this usually happens on days they lose. We're trying to bring some more positivity and happiness into Padres fans' lives. And not to a cringy state, but just overall perspective. They got things they need to work on. But at the end of the day, it's time to, by the time our show kicks up, you get the first couple hours, you can complain about stuff, and then they got to go get it again today. Now, if they get swept this week, or they lose 2 out of 3 to Washington, Thursday, you got to be better, and we can be on it. But after one game, not too much to think about. I said the same thing about the Royals series. I went to the game last Friday. I was like, I can't believe he's lost at the Royals, but let me see what happens in 2 days. You win 2 out of 3, you're on pace, which is really where you want to be right now. You want to get up to a point where, you can get to 90 wins. Right now, they're on pace for 85 wins, 84 wins. That's not going to get you in the playoffs. But it's important that it's the reason why you got off that's why it was so important to get off that big start.
And like I told you off air yesterday, you're going to go 60 and 60.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you do with the other 42. So you're watching whichever column hits 60 first. That tells you what your concern level is.
Correct. I'm not worried about it. And I know they're going to add some pieces at the deadline, and it's just the difference between holding the team accountable and glass half full, glass half empty. I mean, I just think like reality needs to set in sometimes, and we get emotional. It's fine. It's what fans do. They want the team to win. I like the passion. That's my favorite. The favorite part about the chat. Even the people I disagree with. There's a lot of people in there I disagree with. They'll even call me names. I don't care. Call me whatever name you want. I love the passion. And that's the best part about the fans here in San Diego, the passionate fans. It's way better than them not caring. At least they care. That's what you like to see. Do they care enough to try to take me down in trivia? Let's find out. Midday Sports Stand-Up.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right.
What do we got today, Frank?
Today we have Victor in Claremont is going to be our contestant. Victor, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing well. Let's get this going.
All right. So it's going to be another short answer kind of day. There's only 5 possible answers to this. There are 5 colleges that have won the college football championship, the college basketball championship, and the college baseball championship. So we're going to look for all 5 who have won those 3 championships. Victor, you have first pick.
Definitely going to go with LSU.
LSU has not won all 3.
They haven't won basketball, right? They've won football
Right,
and baseball.
yes.
This one's going to be tough. I'm going to go with the Florida Gators.
Florida is 1.
They went back-to-back basketball. I know they won baseball from yesterday's trivia question, and I know they've won football with Tim Tebow.
Victor.
Let's roll with UCLA.
UCLA has won one. Well, has won all 3, yes.
I guess start thinking of like some old school squads in there too. I don't think Notre Dame's won basketball or baseball. I don't know if Tennessee's won basketball. I'm gonna go with Tennessee. I know they won football and baseball. Haven't won basketball.
Tennessee is a negative. Victor.
Let's roll with Texas.
Horns down,
They've
baby.
never won basketball, huh? Michigan. Hail to the victors.
Michigan is correct.
So we have 3 of the 5.
We have 3 of the 5. And Victor, you have 1 strike left to give.
So, USC.
No, unfortunately not. Braden.
What do we have here? There's 2 teams left.
There are 2 teams left. Victor, thank you very much for playing today. Appreciate you giving it a shot.
All right. The game's over already? I still want to
Yeah,
give me
you
a
got
hint.
the third strike. They are all there's no like sneaky team like Delaware isn't going to be one of them.
What
They're all-
what conference are they in?
Okay, so the 2 we're missing, Pac-12, ACC, and
Stanford.
Big 10 or Big 12. Sorry, no, yeah, Big 10. Sorry,
Stanford?
no,
Cal Berkeley.
the Bears.
Ooh, they won a football championship. All right, so Cal and the other one's the Big 10?
Yes, Big 10.
Is it the Ohio State University?
It is.
They won in
Ohio State
baseball? When did they win
University.
in baseball? That'd have been a long time ago. Ohio State.
3
baseball.
of those 6 teams have won all of them in the same year.
That's UCLA.
None of which reside in California, though.
Ohio State, maybe?
Ohio State, Florida, and Michigan all won all 3 in the same year.
College World Series, 1966 for the Ohio State Buckeyes. 1 o'clock hour coming to the next Braden Surprenant Show. That was a pretty good trivia question game today. What 5 universities have won every major college championship in basketball, men's basketball, football, and baseball? It's good, Frank. I like that.
Well, thank you. I test them out on my friends every day too to see if they're any good. If they get them in like
30
right
seconds.
in order, then I'm like, wow, we got to come up with something new now.
We like giving things away, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you guys see the Wandy Peralta, Roki Sasaki stat comparison? Just to
Ladies and gentlemen,
anger all the people.
Wandy Peralta confirmed better than Roki Sasaki this year. Confirmed better.
You can manipulate stats anyway. Wandy Peralta's got a 0.3 WAR. Sasaki's got a 0.1 WAR. He's pitching 34 games this year to 8, but that makes sense because Sasaki's got 8 games started. Roki Sasaki has gone 34 and a third innings this year. Wandy Peralta has gone 34 innings. They've both thrown relatively 34 innings. Peralta's got a better record. He's 3-1. Doesn't matter. He's got a better ERA, 3.71. His ERA plus is 112. Sasaki's is 84. He's got more strikeouts than Sasaki at 27 and 24. Higher strikeout rate. He has walked less, lower walk rate. Wandy Peralta is better than Roki Sasaki. Just saying.
I'll tell you what.
Do I actually believe that? No, I do not. But stat-wise, hey, Wandy Peralta is better pitcher than Roki Sasaki.
I'm looking up at the TV right now, and MLB Network is showing a preview for the Mets Bravos tonight. 97 degrees at Citi Field tonight. I know what that feels like. It's not fun.
97. What's the humidity? Probably high.
Probably around 95 to 100. I went there
Bob.
one night. I was Mets Cubs. I went there one night and the Cubs just went off. It was like 15-2 was the final. It was 95 degrees with 97% humidity at 10:30 at night. And I am sitting there on a train platform, depressed, sweating, tired, feeling like I needed a shower 3 hours before. It was the worst experience of my life as a Met fan. The worst.
Did you flush it the next day?
I flushed it after the shower because that's at that point, 95 degrees and 97% humidity at midnight. I'm sorry. I don't care about the game anymore. I just want a shower.
Now,
I don't care about the game. I want to get washed.
fair enough. I think the worst baseball game I've ever been to is like any day game for the Rangers in their old ballpark. Because there's no wind. Well, it gets windy in Texas, but it was all enclosed. Globe Life.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There was no wind in there, and you would just bake. You would just bake in the sun. And I could understand why nobody wanted to go to day games for the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Tickets were like super cheap, and I was just like baking in the sun. Everybody was like trying to sit in the shade. Not really any shade. I could see why they moved indoors, deep in the heart of Texas. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It's so funny, like the perceptions of... I can't tell you how many times I've heard people go like, oh, Wandy Peralta's in, game's over, walking home. Out of here. Come on, man. He's not that bad. It hasn't worked out. He's not that bad. If you factor out his game in New York, his like ERA is not that... He's okay. Not the worst. It's funny sometimes. It's just he's not that bad. Just like some guys are not that good. I just thought it was funny. Yeah, he's better than Roki Sasaki, man. Wandy Peralta. Stats don't lie. Stats. Better in every statistical category. He's better.
By the way, and I texted you this back in February, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
The window is opening. For those of you who've been listening long enough, you guys know my mother is a witch when it comes to like predicting
Yellow
this
pants.
stuff. Yes, the yellow pants at work.
Any team that wears yellow pants is a loss in the playoffs or something?
Right. but I texted you in February when I told my mother that Roki Sasaki signed with the Dodgers. She said July. And I said, what does that mean? She goes, that's when he's getting Tommy John surgery, is July. So the window is opening.
Oh, God.
And Sasaki should be very concerned for the entire month of July.
I need your mom to be like, the Padres are winning the World Series. Can we say that?
It doesn't work with stuff. It doesn't work that way because the Mets would win a World Series every single year if that were the case.
Ah, okay.
She's very good at predicting bad stuff.
Some people in the chat actually believe when I said Wandy Peralta's better than Roki Sasaki.
That's
hey,
why.
man, stats, dude, stats. Never know if it's a sarcastic hour or not. Let's get to the phones. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Davis in San Diego on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Davis?
Hey, Braden. I just want to talk about Schilt. I know he's a good manager and stuff, but, like, sometimes I feel like he makes some, like, unnecessary moves. Like, I was at the game last night, and I see Yuki warming up, and I'm like, I guess the game's over already. And then I see scoreboard, and I'm like, well, we're not down that much. Why would he be coming in? And Morgan was pitching fine. He gave a base hit and then struck out too. I just don't understand why he'd bring Yuki in. I feel like that would just be unnecessary. I get the matchup, but Yuki, I'm pretty sure he's not much better against lefties than righties, and it doesn't really matter. So I just don't know why we would take Morgan out.
Well, Davis, a lot of different reasons. That's a good phone call. It's a good question. The reality is, and it's, you look at the way you manage, you got to worry about the entire season when it comes to bullpen arms. And these guys are they're on the major league team. He's going to use them. And so, again, like when you look at some of these decisions, you can't view it in a sense of what happened after the fact. You got to view it in the sense of in the moment. Now, in the moment, again, you don't know about who's hot, who's ready to go, who's available, and all that stuff. But there's a rhyme or reason to all of these potential moves that Mike Schilt does make. And you can't burn your best guys all the time. You can't use Adam and Estrada and Suarez every single night. When you don't even have Suarez last night. So you got to go with a lot of the guys that are in your spot. It's funny you brought up Yuki Matsui. I was talking, that was a great call, Davis. Hopefully you call in more. I was talking to a Dodger fan today. You're not going to believe this, Frank. What would you, I mean, a lot of people think in the Padres in the Padres fan base, do you think they have positive comments about Yuki Matsui and Wandy Peralta or negative ones?
I would say negative.
Negative. They remember all the bad times, right? I was talking to a Dodgers fan this morning. You know what he said about Yuki Matsui?
I don't want to see Yuki Matsui in the playoffs.
He hates Yuki Matsui because he mows down the top of the Dodgers order. He's like, I'm tired of watching Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani strike out to Yuki Matsui. I hate Yuki Matsui. It's amazing like how you view some of these pitchers, right?
It's what it's like looking at stuff in a vacuum.
Padres fans.
Speaking of a
hate
vacuum.
Yuki Matsui. Yeah, what is that?
I've been hearing it all day.
It's a tornado that rolls through here. But anyway, it's like Padres fans. Yuki Matsui comes in, the game's over. Dodgers fans, I hate seeing Yuki Matsui pitch. Isn't that funny? Dodgers fans for a long time hated Austin Barnes and Chris Taylor, the bottom of their order. Meanwhile, as a Padres fan, you also hate the bottom of the Dodgers order because that's the part of the order that beats you all the time. That's a good call from Davis. Hopefully we get... How old do you think Davis was?
I'll ask him next time.
Yeah, you should. That's pretty cool. Good stuff, kid, in the chat. Love that.
All got to start somewhere.
We like the youthful movement here in the show.
Absolutely. Got to start somewhere.
Don't watch during school. If you do, don't get caught. I don't want to get in trouble for that. Watch it on your iPad or something.
Also, the youth movement in the show is great, but we also would appreciate you not having your 6-year-old call. That's We do have to cap. We do have to have an age floor at some point.
Unless your 6-year-old's knows ball, then
Yeah,
that's your 6-year-old call.
There you go.
Kian and Encinitas here on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kian?
Hey guys, I talk about a tough game experience. I was at the August 26, 2021 Padres Dodgers game that I got to sleep at like 2:30 a.m. Not because of reckless decisions, because the game lasted until I think it was like 1:15 a.m. And the Padres were no hit from the third inning till like the 14th inning or something. It was miserable. I think we basically could have done a podcast throughout the entirety of it. It was an insane game and so boring, but we did it.
What was the what's the question or the?
There's no question. I'm just referencing a tough game experience, bad game experience that you guys were talking about.
Oh yeah, that's right. So a little bit of a tough experience of. What is he in 24 innings in a row?
Yeah, sorry. We were kind of distracted in here because somebody
kept running past the.
Yeah, there was something going on here. I don't know if it was up here, if it was the floor below us. I don't know what happened. So we got a little distracted there.
Is that what he said? Do we got to roll back the tape? I was really confused. I was like, what was the deal? A 100-meter race broke out in the hallway.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yes. Oh, it's speaking of kids.
We had a couple of stampeding heffalumps.
I was like, where is that coming
from?
It is the kids out for summer. Must be our kids camp here at Odyssey. I was like, what is that noise? And here's every time I hear sprinting in the hallways, it's almost like the same feeling that you get in radio when you hear dead air, because a lot of the times it's Adam sprinting in the hallways because something is horribly wrong in studio.
He was pacing back and forth. I was trying to figure out if he was like just on the phone or if he was like waiting to come in here to tell us something.
So he was he like sprints when we're off air or something bad happens or like don't do that, whatever. So I get nervous every time I hear the sprint and I have to look to see if it's Adam, and it wasn't Adam. And I'm like, where is? And obviously I couldn't see it because it's a child, so I can't see. It's not tall enough. I can get back to my daycare hours, I guess. So, do I get paid extra for that?
So, Kian, we weren't being rude. There was something happened here that really distracted us.
Did anybody in the chat got what he said? He was talking about like a bad game experience.
Yeah, we weren't ignoring you. I do remember he said he didn't get home until about 2:00 in the morning because a Padre Dodger game went long. They didn't get a hit for like 4 innings and extra innings.
I gotta know. He gave his Padres version of a miserable experience, like your experience.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I was confused on. I was like, what was the basis there? I forgot that you mentioned the awful, horrible, no good day of being a Mets fan. Okay, it makes sense.
That's just my whole life. It's not a single day. It's rotten, horrible, no good life at this point.
What's the book? Rotten, horrible, no good, whatever day.
I don't remember.
I don't know. The chat wasn't pleased with the phone call. Let's see if Derek and LeMesa could jive things up a little bit. Derek, what's going on?
What's going on, brother? Referencing your young caller, I'm setting the over under at 12, by the way.
All right.
I'm thinking
Seems
12,
good.
13, something like that.
It's a good call for a 12 to 13-year-old, though, Derek.
100%. Hey, brother, Padre fan is driving me insane. I mean, I don't know how the ones that continue to bitch every single time they lose, like, I don't know how you get through a season without having a heart attack. Xander Bogaerts. All you need to know about Xander is what his teammates say about him. The guy's been incredibly unlucky, and here's a news flash for you. If Xander Bogaerts, and I get it, the captain, Jeter, A-Rod, and Garcia-Parra changed that position, okay? But if Xander Bogaerts was a shortstop in the 80s, He might be a borderline Hall of Famer. Okay. What did Ozzie Smith hit for his career? About 250. And I understand he was a great shortstop, but I'm not sure the guy could hit a ball out of the ballpark with a fungo bat from second base. I mean, he was a defensive wizard, and he was an average hitter. Xander Bogaerts is a good ball player. His exit velo is there. His expected batting average is there. Dennis Lynn's article was fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was great. But, I mean, just these unreal – did we overpay for Bogaerts? Yeah, we did. But there's nothing you can do about it now. Literally nothing. Nobody's going to take that contract. The guy's playing great defense. He's starting to come around. The exit velo is there. I hate talking exit velo stats, but it is what it is.
You ever paid attention to that when you were a player, Derek?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, bro. Like, we weren't talking about launch angle and exit velo and all this nonsense. Xander Bogaerts is a good Major League Baseball player. He's a good shortstop. He's had an incredible amount of bad luck this year. But guess what, Padre fan? There's nothing we can do about it. He is going to play shortstop for the San Diego Padres for the foreseeable future. And so you can whine about it and lament about it and be so upset about it. Nothing's going to change. The Padres are doing fine. Oh, my God, we lost to the Nationals. Guess what? We're probably going to lose a game to the Rockies this year, too, again. Okay? It's probably going to happen. And the 60 wins, 60 losses, what do you do with the other 42 is the truest stat in professional baseball. It's what do you do in the other 42. And so, Padre fan, we're fine. We're missing 3 pitchers. Everything's going to be okay.
And we'll see what happens when it comes to the reinforcements at the trade deadline. Derek well said. The other thing that was mentioned about the Xander Bogaerts from his teammates is the amount of lack of success that he has had, that he has not used in his that he's gotten in his at-bats, that he has not let get to him defensively or on the base pass or in other aspects of his game. I don't think people understand how difficult that is. Most people that have never played sports have no idea what that's like. Especially in a game like baseball. I mean, I see it all the time in baseball. You let a bad at-bat impact the rest of the inning. You let your bad at-bat or a bad play impact you in a different aspect of your game, and all of a sudden you're ruined for a couple of innings. You don't see that with Xander Bogaerts. I mean, I think he's handled it like a pro, but we knew that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Kevin, 1, and the caller calling in right now. We're going to get to you when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Good leading you up to Gwen and Chris on San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 124 on a Tuesday afternoon in America's finest city. We have found the fan of the day. We have found the listener of the day. At Eric M619. He is the listener of the day. Brandon 619 is talking about, moving different parts in the bullpen, and his last comment was, let him cook. Let him finish the inning. You know what? Somebody let Eric M619 cook, all right? Look at this. This is great. This is great. If you're on the YouTube, our guy, 619 Chiefs on Twitter, at Eric M619. He got a smart fridge. It looks great, Eric. The smart fridge looks great. And you know what he did with the smart fridge for anybody driving around? Do you know what you could do with a smart fridge? You can watch things on a smart fridge. And what Eric M619 did was put the Braden Surprenant show on his fridge. Wow. Wow. I mean, imagine you're going for like a high noon, midday, having a Tuesday, you're not working. And it's me and Frank on the fridge.
First official dedicated fan of the day award handed out right there.
619 Chiefs on Twitter. At Eric M619. Expand. Hashtag expand. This is great. This makes a whole new meaning to the lunchtime hour, I will say, even though we're not in it anymore. And you know what? We have all the reads of how you can listen to the show, consume the show. Right?
Your refrigerator is not one of them, but it will be now.
It is now. You can listen in podcast form. You can listen to us on the Odyssey app. You can watch us on your mobile device. You can watch us on your refrigerator. I love it. This is great. I couldn't think of a better advertisement to buy a smart fridge than the Braden Surprenant show on your smart fridge.
If our sales team could work on that with Samsung or LG or whoever's making these TVs,
I'll endorse it.
There's nothing more boring than sitting there watching your clothes dry on the dryer. But if you could throw the Braden Surprenant show up on your dryer screen, we got ourselves something right there.
Ill619 in the chat. A good friend of the show. I do that too, but I put a projector on my fridge. You know what?
Fair enough.
It happens. Wow, that's some hate right there. It's funny though. Anthony Sandoval, who's usually got some of the best jokes in the chat. It's a great diet tool because if I'm going to get a snack and I saw Braden and Frank, my appetite would immediately go away. Whatever helps. Oh yeah, EC Money. Get us on the Sportsplex TVs. Love it. Love it. The fridge is just chef's kiss.
Do you imagine if they put us on the big screen at Circa?
Oh wow,
that would be great.
That would be great.
Full side with the Braden Surprenant show.
I tell you, man, I got like Anthony's. I love Anthony Sandoval in the chat. He's hilarious. He's also a Saints guy. It's we can get along. We can get along.
So
the fridge thing is so funny. That is just the greatest thing ever.
That should be part of the new thing. Like when we give those tickets away to Circa Las Vegas, whichever show gets the winner is the show that they play on the big screen at Circa Las Vegas.
It's so great.
So like if our show got the winner qualified, then we get our show on the big screen at Circa.
I want to see him like the video on the fridge. It's a touchscreen, right?
Yeah, those are touchscreen.
Touch the like button. Hey, click the like button. Or if you're watching on your refrigerator, tap the like button on your refrigerator. And then pass a high noon or whatever. Insert drink here. I don't really like high noons. That's just one of my buddies said, like, oh, I totally do that, but with Gus Johnson highlights and get your ass off the face of the fridge, and let me do a high noon. Mind if a guy has a day. We have listeners today having days. 619 Chiefs on Twitter, at Eric M619, enjoying the show on his fridge. We got Rod having himself a day at Point Loma Seafood. Hashtag expand. Expand. How about it? Our guys are having a day on a Tuesday. You know what? There's no better way to flush a loss last night than doing what our listeners are doing while they're consuming our product. It's great. I love it. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Devin in Chula Vista. Devin, are you watching on your fridge?
Unfortunately, I am not. I'm listening to you guys on the way home from work. What's going on, Braden? What's going on, Frank?
Another match, man. Hopefully you had a good day at work.
Appreciate it. I was at that game last night just mainly for the bobblehead. Wasn't too much offensively, as you guys know. But Padres fans need to relax. You know, it's not that big of a deal. We got to look at where we were last year, barely battling to stay around 500, and we're 6 games ahead right now with a lighter schedule. Mind you, I'm a little bit younger, 22 years old. I haven't been able to see this team be good in for the first 18 years of my life, and I've been a Padres fan since I was born. So everyone needs to relax. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, dude. I've been on this planet only 8 years longer than you have. It's the same. Numbers are working out relatively the same. So I agree with that. Devin, I appreciate the phone call, man. I think you wanted to ask a little bit about trade deadline stuff, too. Left field, I think, is probably the number one spot. Again, I think the biggest wild card in this deadline, why you can't pull the trigger early, are the Arizona Diamondbacks. Because that's going to affect the market one way or the other. If the Arizona Diamondbacks are sellers, that opens up a lot of things for a lot of teams and probably drops the prices of a lot of the potential trade candidates at the deadline that are not currently playing well. Because the trade possibilities for the Arizona Diamondbacks, if they decide to sell, Eugenio Suarez is having a great year. Josh Naylor having a great year. Merrill Kelly having a great year. They have a couple of pitchers. They got a couple of position players and bats, all on rentals, that if they flood the market, even though I don't think the Padres will make trades with the Diamondbacks, lowers the price of a lot of other players. I look at Luis Robert Jr. for a second. People are like mad that I said they should acquire him because he's not playing well. I think it'd be a project or rolling the dice. If I would go after a guy like Luis Robert Jr., I think you could probably get him for almost free. You flood the market with some of the players on the Diamondbacks, Luis Robert Jr., they have no leverage there because he's basically a rental. He's got 2 club options worth $20 million each. Nobody's going to pick those up. So he's a player that's underperforming. He's a rental because nobody's going to pick up the club options. You don't have to give up anything for him. Maybe like the 16th best prospect in your organization. Try to catch lightning in a bottle with him. But I don't think that should be your only move. I'd like to do that and add a DH bat. So you do have somebody good defensively regardless with Luis Robert Jr. in left field. He's got a lot of speed. It doesn't cost you a lot. And the potential on the upside is very high as long as you get another bat with it. That's called adding at the margins. That's pulling a 2021 Atlanta Braves, except for the fact that Luis Robert Jr. is not having a great year. But I think there's potential there. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's go out to Kevin in San Diego. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. Kevin, what's going on?
What's up, gentlemen? Great to be on the show. Thank you.
Thanks for calling. We appreciate it.
I was shocked to hear Xander Bogaerts' agent call in on that last call. That was quite entertaining. Just a quick point on that. I know he's telling all the fans to chill. The reality is, and I think what people don't understand is, this guy's clogging a roster spot for the next decade, and he's slugging .340. And the comparison to Ozzie Smith even is laughable because, not to get into stats, but take a look at Fangraphs and look at Ozzie Smith's WAR compared to Xander Bogaerts, even at his peak with Boston. It's better across the board cumulatively. So that's a horrible comparison. And Xander's fielding's not even there. So I think, 2 points. The main thing is he's clogging a roster spot. And the reality is he's also clogging $300 million of potential payroll that could have been allocated to arguably 2 or 3 other players to fill a lot of these spots. And I think that's what people don't realize is that we're stuck, and we've got this guy who's declining now for the next 8 years, which is disturbing. But you also, though, read my mind in that Arizona situation. You look at a guy like Jordan Lawler, for example, who's kind of blocked positionally speaking by Perdomo at short, for example, as well. I know Carroll got hurt last night too. So I'm wondering, do you think the Diamondbacks would be in a position to deal within division if they were out of it? Because you've got arguably, you mentioned a few of them, but you've even got potential prospects like a guy like Lawyer who, hasn't yet panned out in 90 at-bats, but maybe we can kind of load up on some youth potentially as well, in a deal. I'd love to get Naylor back. I think that's yet another Preller trade that didn't go well too. So thoughts on that all across the board.
Well, Kevin, I appreciate the phone call. I do. I don't think Xander is a completely declining player. And again, he is a good player on a good team, as AJ Cassavell alluded to. I don't think he's as bad as people think. But at the same time, talking about the Arizona Diamondbacks, I think now teams are more reluctant to trade within division, but it doesn't mean they won't. I think it's more of an Arizona Diamondbacks thing more than an AJ Preller thing with the Padres. Because at the end of the day, as a general manager, you're looking to better your team the best way you can. That's what you're trying to do. You don't really care about the other teams. So if I make a trade within the division and I made my team better, that's all I really care about. You can't be worried about, whether or not their team got better. An ideal trade is both teams improve and both teams get what they need. That's the ideal part of a trade. You don't see a lot of interdivision trades. So I don't say I'm not going to say it's impossible. I don't see the Padres and Diamondbacks making a deal for any of their players. But I do think that those players that you mentioned are available and could be available for other teams that would lower the price for other players throughout Major League Baseball. That's where I think that helps the Padres if the Arizona Diamondbacks sell. Aside from the fact that it would help them this year, it's one less team to worry about. Now, in the future, if Arizona gets the young prospects out of these players, which they could, there'll be someone to deal with in the next couple of years or so. So, interesting topic of discussion. We got to take a break. We got the final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show leading you to Gwen and Chris when we come back. 97 through the Fan. $142 on a Tuesday, a passing league Tuesday. Going up to Carlsbad. After this, passing league in full force for high school football. We have some high school football news today that I'm going to talk about on Thursday. We're going to briefly talk about it on Thursday. Thursdays are kind of our days, right? Thursdays and Fridays to mix in other sports because it's kind of down with the Padres off day. But what has been very funny to watch and pay attention to and now it's called highschoolratings.com, but it used to be called calpreps.com, and the beef between calpreps and the San Diego section has been hilarious. I've enjoyed every second of it. I look at, and I got one of my guys that I know, coaching friends that coaches at Lincoln, sent me this thing that I sent to Frank, and we'll break it down on highschoolratings.com. They do all the ratings for the high school teams to determine playoffs and stuff like that. There's an expert just on the San Diego section ratings, and the question of the article that they put together was, how can San Diego section coaches help get the ratings back? And it's just a long diatribe. Oh, man. You guys, the thing is, you guys miss it, man. Like, you don't... I get involved. I love the Padres world, and everything involved with the Padres world is one thing. But in the other sports communities that I'm a part of, there's some serious drama. It's like a Bravo show. The high school football world's like, it's a totally different thing. And the best part is, like, anytime I don't have to get into it, it becomes so eye-watched, I just flip to the other world. I just go, you know what? Padres world's a little bit eye-watched for me. I'm going to flip to the high school football world, and then I go back very quickly. So we're going to get to that on Thursday. It's pretty good. But we're in full force high school football in the summer. So for all the kids out there getting ready for the football season, we have a passing league. We're playing in the Cathedral is playing in the Mission Viejo tournament this weekend. I think some of the top teams from San Diego are in that tournament, if I'm not mistaken. Lincoln's in it, Mission Hills is in it, LCC's in it, Cathedral's in it, all teams that could potentially make the open division, plus a lot of good teams from Orange County, St. John Bosco, Mission Viejo, obviously. Mater Dei is going to be in it. It's going to be fun. And we'll have high school football coverage on this show. Not in extensive, people hear that and they get freaked out. Nobody cares about high school football. Apparently they do. But it will be we'll talk about it in spurts. We're not spending an hour on high school football. We're going to have a small segment on it during the fall. But we will talk about it and the stories and the trending lines of that, as well as college football and the NFL all in the fall. It's going to be great. Frank Marchese, Braden Surprenant. Tomorrow, show adjustments. So tomorrow we will be live at the Loft. We'll be live at the Loft for tomorrow's show. Hopefully getting you set up for what could potentially be Padres Nationals for a Padres victory. We'll see what happens tonight. First pitch at 6:40. Pregame show, Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levin at 5:40. Again, we will be on tomorrow 10 to noon live from the Loft. We will see Rod there. We will see Nate there. They're always there on the Wednesday day games. They always come up to the Loft and say hi. You should too. Frank's first remote at this day. He's fired up. Wear your best. Be excited. Be ready to go. You think I'm fired up on every day to start the show? Frank's going to be bouncing off the walls. It's going to be great. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Juan at Oceanside. Juan, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's up, Braden? I was thinking about Frank's terrible day watching the Mets, and it reminded me of, because every time I've ever gone to see the Padres at Petco Park, they win, but they've only lost to one team when I've gone, and it's Frank's Mets. And the one time I went, Bartolo Colon hit the home run when he was like 42 years old. And I was so upset, and I was like, should I just leave? But I decided to stay because I just stay for all the games no matter what. We could be getting blown out like 13-0. But I kind of wanted to know what is your worst Padres/sports experience? Because we already heard Frank's.
Well, worst sports experience is definitely the national championship game. I mean, there's nothing worse than that. Padres wise, it's hard for like the Padres. Like, anytime you lose to the Dodgers, it's annoying. But the majority of my life, they weren't winning, so it was like it was expected that the Padres were just not going to win. I had low expectations going to most games growing up as a kid. Like, I hope they win, and if they did, it was great. In terms of, I haven't really been devastated by the Padres' losses that much. But I think it comes with the territory of like the team historically during my lifetime has not been very good. They've had really good years mixed in, but they haven't been just like good for a long period of time. So for me, the worst is like the national championship game. You lose like 60 points to Georgia. It's like, and the thing that was annoying, it didn't even look like, it just looked like we were happy to be there. So it's like you spent the money and the day was miserable already. Like it was raining in LA. It never rains in LA. Nobody ever rains in Southern California. It's raining the entire time outside. And so they had like the national championship, like tailgate and stuff, but it's raining, so it's not as great. My family went, my mom, my dad, my brother, my buddies went too, from college. My local friends had nothing better to do on a Monday, so they got tickets, they went. And the game wasn't even close to being competitive. And I said, and I've heard Ben and Woods talk about this, but I would have rather had them in the game and lose on a heartbreaker than get smoked. I mean, there's nothing you can say, because now you got to deal with all the SEC fans. They're like, oh, they didn't deserve to be there. Everybody forget the fact that they beat Michigan the week before. People forget that TCU beat Michigan that year. You want to know why? Because they got blown out in the national championship game. This happened at the golf tournament last week. And I don't even know why I was getting into this conversation. So we finished up the golf tournament, and they have like, you know, when you play in a golf tournament, they have like the banquet after with food and all that stuff. They do the auctions and all that stuff. So my buddy Matt went to Washington State's wearing a Washington State Cougs polo. And some kid, like, I don't know what year he graduated, but it would had to been like during the years, during the time frame of me graduating college, where he was in high school, because he's still a student at Washington. And he just like goes up to him and just starts talking smack. And I was like, what in the Apple Cup is going on right now? I was like, the University of Washington fan is just talking smack to to my friend Matt for literally no reason. He just instigated. Now, the guy had a couple of brews. You could tell. He'd been drinking. It's hot sun. He's been drinking. But he starts talking smack on the Cougs, in which my buddy quickly responded, like, you lost the Apple Cup last year. I don't want to hear it from you. They go back and forth. And then I had to weigh in because it was getting ridiculous. I was like, I can't believe the UW football team is talking smack right now. Well, not them, but the fan of it. And I was like, dude, I don't get involved with lowly programs like Washington's got a good program. It's not, but recently hasn't been that. They were in the national championship not too long ago either. I was like, I don't get involved with lowly programs like that. Just talking a little S. And he was like, TCU got smoked in the national championship game. Hey, man, they got smoked in the national championship game, and you guys lost too. You didn't win. You don't get extra points for getting for blowing a team out. But overall, worst sports experience was that. Plus, I had a bunch of people that don't like me on air, like DMing me just hateful things after my team lost. I was like, dude, like, get over yourself. Get over yourself. I had a lot of people do that. Like 5-6 different messages just like destroying me for no reason. I was just like, okay, guys, whatever. But that was the worst live sporting event experience I've ever experienced. I mean, most of the time, I think when I go to games, the team that I've rooted for has won a couple of times. I went to the Tennessee-Georgia game where Tennessee lost at Georgia, but like, I don't really, it's my brother's school. So like I root for Tennessee, but it's not the same passion as TCU. So I was just like, okay. But that's kind of the worst. Like I do like repping a lot of college gear. I bring this upon myself. But like I have a couple of teams. I have like 4 or 5 teams that I root for. And they're my family's teams. It's where my family's with the school. And when you wear some of the gear, I forget that people think you're a fan. I mean, I think that when I see people wearing gear. And so now I have to defend different schools. So last night, I was wearing an Arizona Wildcat long sleeve, and I got some ASU guy talking. I was like, dude, I don't want to waste my time. I don't care. Say whatever you got to say. I went to TCU. I didn't go to I went to Arizona for a semester. I don't care. It's whatever, dude. So you have to deal with that sometimes. So the Georgia fans talking smack after the Tennessee game, I don't care. So that was the worst. The national championship is definitely the worst experience live sporting event. Was that your worst Mets experience or worst sporting event experience ever?
No, that was my worst Met experience. As far as sporting event,
where your team just didn't even show up.
Oh God, there were a couple of bad ones here. I remember Josh Edgin falling off the mound in the 9th inning to bring in the game-winning run in the 9th. I remember the Padres beating the Mets 18-6 to the point where I went down into the left field corner and heckled Jason Bay myself. There were a walk-off hit by pitch in, I think it was 2008. The Padres have done it to me a couple times.
Wow.
Will Venable walk off in the 10th inning.
Padres have had some good moments against the Mets, I have to say. We'll take that. And that's it for our show. We'll see you guys tomorrow live at the Loft. Hopefully, getting ready for a Padres series win against the Nationals. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. Coming up next, 97 through the Fan.